What's going on? Good morning. Shout out to my people, man. You already know what time it is. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah. I appreciate you too sending them notifications out real early. Let's get it. Shout out to my people in the comments that's been rocking with us. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. Right? Yeah, man. So Sunday morning, December 21st, 2025, man. We are almost this year is almost over, man. We got like one excuse me, we got one more week left for this year. Let me put it like that. So we're going into 2026 and yeah, this is it's been a good year. Overall, I say 25 has been a good year. You know, shout out to my people. I said Sonny about to be fuming. Yeah, man. We've been having a Sonny made some videos about me, like at least five or six of them that I've seen. So I'm gonna address I'm gonna address some things that Sonny said. And listen, man, there's no hatred, there's no animosity. I'm just here to correct a few things. I'm not whooping, not selling whoop tickets, not making no threats. We're gonna have a response. We're gonna have a respectful conversation, right? And we're gonna break some of these things down without disrespecting people. I'm only dealing with his talking points. Like I said, man, I don't know why Sonny accused me of calling Mexicans the WB word and all these other slurs that I've never said. I mean, if you watch my videos when I address Mexicans or Southsiders, you never heard me use racial slurs. So I don't know why Sonny would lie and say that I did when it's never happened. You know, I've never used slurs against any group. I only deal with their talking points, and that is it. He said, Red, don't Sonny look like Shrek? He said, Sonny look like Shrek. you know, I don't think Sonny was being disrespectful. I just think that he has his views and he see things a certain way, and I'm just here to correct it. Now, Sonny, like many other Latinos and people from that community, uh, they want to say that hip hop is somehow for the streets and it has nothing to do with black culture. Well, that's the same thinking of the conquistadors. That's the same thinking of the Europeans trying to include themselves or just flat out take something that belongs to somebody else or just flat out take something that comes from somebody else's culture. That's that conquistador mindset. How you gonna fix your mouth to say that hip hop is not black culture when hip hop literally came from black culture? If it wasn't for foundational black Americans, there would be no hip hop. If you look at all these other groups and you look at the music that they've created over the last century, none of their music has an urban influence to it. None of it. So if it wasn't for us, there would be no hip hop. Listen. You can get rid of all these other races, and guess what? Hip hop will still be here because it comes from our culture. So we didn't need a co-founder. We didn't need people to help us. It is what it is. We're not talking about corporations and companies. We're talking about who created the music. Okay. You don't control Mexico, but guess what? You still wave Mexican flags and claim to be Mexican, but you don't control it. Spaniard, white looking people are the ones who control Mexico. Those are the people who make the laws. In Mexico today, the natives, the people with the people with dark skin, the melanated people of Mexico, they're hated. Listen, I'm talking about who created it. You can say that certain corporations and companies have a control over hip hop, but what we're talking about is the creation of it, where it comes from. That's what we're talking about. Let's get back to the origins of hip hop and where it comes from. It comes from foundational Black Americans. It comes from our struggle. We made music and we told our story. So I don't care about no small hats or any of that, or who owns a company, a corporation. I'm not talking about none of that. What I'm talking about is the people who created the music and where the culture comes from. So don't come up in here talking about no small hats. That's besides the point. You might create something today and somebody steals it later. It doesn't mean that you didn't create it because somebody stole it and took it over. That's the point that I'm making. Hit the like button. Well, you guys don't own hip hop. The Jews are Jews. That's the only thing they could say in response is, well, the Jews own it. Hip hop is our identity. It comes from our creativity. That's where it comes from. I don't care how many small hats own rap companies or record labels. They're not the creators. They might be the owners in certain situations, but they are not the creators. They don't influence the culture. They didn't create the culture. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, man, bless the like button. It ain't nothing. Yeah, man, we're going to dive into the conversation. 7 minutes into the show. Let's get it. Let's see what Sonny's talking about.
I'm doing a follow-up video about when I spoke up about.
Oh, yeah, and let me say this, Sonny. Stop telling people that I call Mexicans racial slurs, because I never done it. You can look at all my videos of me addressing Mexicans. You never heard me use racial slurs to address Mexicans. I never did that. Stop lying on me. Now, we can have a conversation. It's all gravy, and I'll keep it respectful. But don't make up things. Don't say things. Don't paint the picture like I said things that I never said. Don't do that.
People taking care of their own house before they start speaking about others.
He said we need to clean up our own house before we start speaking about others. So Black people, we can't address them until we clean up our own house. That's what Sonny's saying. Well, Sonny, our people don't run around with white supremacists in prison. Our people aren't the ones firebombing people in their neighborhoods just because they come from another race. Your people are the ones who firebomb apartment buildings. Excuse me. Your people are the one who bomb apartments and houses that Blacks live in these predominant Mexican communities. So if anybody got some house cleaning to do, it is your people. Your people been brainwashed by the Spanish conquistadors to have animosity towards Blacks. It's all over Latin America. It ain't just Mexico. That comes from the Spanish conquistadors. The conquistadors, the Spaniards, are responsible for all this anti-blackness all over Latin America. They brainwashed the people. They colonized the people and they brainwashed them. And they told them that Black people were just bad. Black people were just bad. That's where this anti-Black racism comes from in the Latin community. I'm going to take you down memory lane, man, and I'm going to show you the Mija Raza, where it comes from, why Latinos have a lot of animosity towards Blacks. It comes from their culture. It comes from their culture. It's deeper than gangbanging. Gangbangers took it a step further in their community, but the anti-Blackness, that mindset comes from the Spanish conquistadors. It's embedded in their culture, 100%.
What's cracking, everybody? How you doing? Saludos, buenos dias. I'm doing a follow-up video about what I did when I spoke up about people taking care of their own house before they start speaking about others. You know, I got quite a few messages. One saying if I wanted to take the fade for Lucky. Another one blatantly just disrespecting our gente and myself, as far as my family and my kids and everything else. Also got some from the homies, where homies were like, "Hey, homie, I've been through this. I know what it's like. I'm one in the row." Yeah, and that's true. What most people don't understand is a lot of people weren't around in the 90s and the 80s when it was really, really cracking off in the county and jail, when it was really, really bad. Homies and blacks alike got hurt, stabbed, beat up, jumped. It seriously hurt. Even some got killed. It was a bloody massacre, right? Now, I'm not saying who won, who lost. What I am saying is it's somewhere I don't want to be again, right? Now I'm close to 60 years old. I'm not trying to get down with anybody. I have to. I'll do it, but I ain't trying to. The one thing the Raza needs to understand is we hold ourselves to a higher standard. There's another thing is we have to consider is that for us, for Raza, if we were to attack elderly or kids, there are some serious repercussions for that. No matter the color, there are some serious repercussions for that. The blacks, not so much. There might be a check, but it's nothing compared to what Raza will do to Raza if they were to attack elderly and children. And we've had that happen already. And I'm talking about the Respaldo man and Elote lady got robbed and people that got hit and just for no reason and robbed and beat up and kids getting hurt. And there was really no repercussions for it. There was, I think one instance where somebody got checked for it by their own, which was female, but if that were Raza, it would have been far more severe. And what blacks don't understand.
He talking about the situation when the Hoovers DP'd their homies for smacking the Mexican vendor, right? Now, I said this about the Hoovers yesterday, right? Now, I don't condone anybody picking on elderly people or somebody who's just trying to make money. I don't condone it, but this is what I'm saying. Check me out. Why would the Hoovers DP their homies for robbing a Mexican if you're not going to DP your homies for robbing black people? And then they put it on video for the world to see. When have the Southsiders ever DP'd their homies and put it on YouTube because they homies violated somebody black? You've never seen that, and you're not gonna see that. So it was a bad move for the Hoovers to discipline their homies for robbing a Mexican in their hood, right? How you gonna let Mexicans tell you how to run your neighborhood? Who needs to be disciplined for what? If we're not going to DP black people for robbing other black people, we ain't got no damn business DPing black people for robbing Mexicans. That's all I'm saying. Do I condone it? No. But at the same time, I'm speaking for the bigger picture. I'm not going to punish my people for robbing you if I'm not going to punish my people for robbing their own kind. That's crazy. And I spoke on that yesterday. Hit the like button, family.
And there was really no repercussions for it. There was, I think an instance where somebody got checked for it by their own, which was female, but if that were Raza, it would have been far more severe. And what blacks don't understand, they're not.
Stay out of Hoover business. You people make me laugh. You can't put something on the internet and say, stay out of my business. Right? That's like if I put something on the internet and people have an opinion about it, man, mind your business. I can't say that because I put it on the internet. So if you put your homies on blast by DPing them on camera, you can't get mad when somebody has an opinion about it. If you didn't want nobody to have an opinion about it, you should have never put it on the internet. You should have never put it on the internet. You got people going to Adam 22 and different platforms. you guys run the platforms where white men run. Listen, you guys run the platforms where there's a white man who's running the platform, and you talk about gang and hood politics. But somebody who's from the turf, from the city, you tell me to mind my business. It's crazy. You put the Mexicans in your business, and a lot of you gangbangers, you go to these platforms to put the white man in your business, but get mad when somebody has an opinion about it. If you're really gonna stick to the G code, keep your gang business, keep your gang politics off the internet if you don't want people to have an opinion about it. Maybe that's too much common sense.
No, they don't know our business. They don't know our workings in and out. And there's been many times that I've seen Raza get checked pretty fucking bad in the county behind them doing something stupid that might have caused a riot with the blacks or disrespected the blacks without the blacks even knowing it happened. Because if we see it, we're going to deal with it. We're not gonna wait till the blacks say something. If we see something that's out of the norm, or the homies say something, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get checked over it, right? But one thing we do not do is give our people to a different race. We've never have. There was an instance where American Coward and Blue Dildo tried to give Norbies to a different race. That's a no-fly. That doesn't happen. We don't do that. And they got a lot of feedback behind it, right? Nobody put hands on them, of course, but I myself am nobody to check Lucky. I myself are nobody to check anybody, just like a lot of us say. It doesn't mean that we're not willing to go all balls out or crash out over some dumb shit for our gente, because we have done it before. Some have done it and some haven't. Some have done it and have come out not wanting that anymore, right? So us as Raza, we got to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Now, whatever Lucky said, I'm not getting into. What I am getting into is that if somebody's going to throw rocks from a glass house, they got to be careful. Their windows are going to get broken too.
Let me explain this. He said blacks can't throw rocks because they live in a glass house. That's what he said. Well, Sonny, nobody commits more hate crimes in California than Mexicans. Nobody commits more hate crimes in California than Mexicans. You never seen black people firebomb the apartments of Mexicans just because they live in a black community. That's never happened. If you type in the most hate crimes in California, well, I'm not gonna say you'll be surprised. Maybe some of you guys will, right? Huh?
Yeah, a lot of blacks, and it's funny because a lot of them ain't even from LA. A lot of them are from Midwest. I heard some guy say, "Oh, you wouldn't even try that shit over here in the Midwest." That are hyping shit up and pumping things up, right? And then we have people that there was a half breed that got at me, got stupid with me, and he disrespected my kids and my mother, rest in peace, and he wanted to talk all that shit on the internet. I was just, I ain't gonna talk on the internet. You know what I mean? But if somebody thinks for whatever reason that at my age that I'm not gonna back on my gente, they got me sadly mistaken, man. And that I don't ever want it to go there. I don't ever want it to go there because I don't want to have to pay the consequences for it.
Yes, Mexicans commit the most hate crimes in California, and the majority of their hate crimes are against black people. Right? It's just honest to God truth. You never seen Mexicans firebomb the apartments of white people for living in their communities. You never seen that. But they have firebombed black people apartments and houses for living in their communities. This is a fact. I gave you guys the videos. I broke it down several times. If you look up black people houses firebombed in California, the perpetrators are Mexicans. That's a fact.
Because they will pay the consequences for it, just like anybody else would. It's a shame that we all get called something because of one individual. It's like BG Knockout, right? Putting a rat jacket on a whole Southern car because maybe he had a bad incident with somebody and one individual did something, and next you know, he's blaming us all. It's just like this incident. You know, one person said something, whether it was right or wrong, I'm not getting into again. But just the same, they're disrespecting all the raza. Now, it ain't all blacks. There are some blacks out there that are very respectful. Got love for the raza, just like there's raza that have love for some blacks. Right?
Right. Now, that is true. You got a lot of blacks and Mexicans who do get along, but you got a lot of them who don't. So I'm gonna be honest across the board. You know, there's some Mexicans who do have love for us, right? And they express it. I've had, you know, I've grew up with a lot of them that had a lot of love for me, and I've had love for them. What I'm talking about is the politics that comes from the Mexican raza community in Southern Cali, the anti-black politics, linking up with Nazis and white supremacists in prison. And, you know, that mindset is crazy. So I got to be honest all across the board. Are there Mexicans who got love for blacks? Yes. But at the same time, Mexicans in Southern California formed a loose alliance with Nazis and white supremacists in California prisons. There's no denying that. I don't care about you saying, well, we get into it with them sometimes. You guys get into it with each other. The point is that you formed an alliance with a bunch of white supremacists, which doesn't make sense when you think about how whites colonized Mexico, when you think about how whites dominated and conquered Mexican people. It makes no sense to link up with white supremacists as a Mexican. But I guess if you hate black so much, you're willing to put your hatred, you're willing to put your beef aside with white people because you hate black people more. So you're willing to overlook what whites have done to you throughout the history and say, all right, we'll put all that aside because we actually have more hatred for blacks. So we'll form this loose alliance with whites to go against blacks. And that's exactly what Southern California Mexicans did.
But there are individuals from both sides that tend to want to kick shit off and start shit, and they're the ones that are not going to be there when it happens. It's a sad situation. That's what's happened. I ain't going to argue with that. We got people calling out Lucky to do this, to get it for a fade or fight or whatever they want to call it.
You guys remember when Tiger did that video? Ay caramba, ay caramba. The Mexicans wanted to do a 1,000,000-man march in downtown Los Angeles because of an ay caramba video. They pulled up to no jumper 50 deep, or was it 100 deep? All over a video. And you want to talk about somebody crying. All you see is black people making videos on YouTube. You didn't see black people trying to form a 1,000,000-man march because the raza said something that we felt that was disrespectful. If you don't believe me, look it up. Mexicans mad at Adam 22. American Cholo and Mexicans mad at Adam 22. They tried to form a 1,000,000-man march to pull up to no jumper. All over Tiger's Ay Caramba video. So don't talk about somebody crying, man.
I don't see that happening. And it's not because Lucky's scared. And then we got some dude from Morgan, some white dude that talks like he's black, but tries to claim that he's a Southerner. Talking shit about Lucky. We don't do that. Like I said, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. If somebody got something to say to Lucky, as a man, a raza, they'll say it to him. But no other race is gonna jump him, beat him up, hurt him while other raza stands around. It's not gonna happen. Just let the shit go. Drop it. There are many black podcasters that frequently disrespect raza. We all know it. We all know who they are. They're Red Supreme, Tariq Nasheed, OG Bam, and a bunch of other.
See, he keep throwing my name in this. He said I'm one of the podcasters, black podcasters, who continually disrespects Rasa, who continues to disrespect the Rasa. I want y'all to hear it again. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying when I talk about Mexicans, I'm usually talking about their gangs, the anti-blackness that comes with their particular group and their mindset. I talk about the open borders and how that's causing problems. They've been crossing the border illegally by the millions to dump anchor babies, but I've never used racial slurs. Now, I want you to hear this again. This is the second and third time that he's made a video saying that Red Supreme is always disrespecting the raza. Red Supreme, Tariq Nasheed, and the OG Bam.
It's not going to a higher standard. If somebody got something to say to Lucky, as a man, a raza, they'll say it to him. But no other race is going to jump him, beat him up, hurt him while other raza stands around. It's not going to happen. Just let the shit go. Drop it. There are many black podcasters that frequently disrespect raza. We all know it. We all know who they are. The Red Supreme, Tariq Nasheed, OG Bam, and a bunch of other ones that I don't want to name specifically. I can't even name them. But there was a guy on Jumper that's talking about Mexicans got small peepees. Like I said, why you were thinking about another man's dick? That don't make no sense to me. But he wanted to sit there and crash out and talk all that shit on the internet. And he ain't going to go out there and do anything. At some point, we have to grow up and understand that not everybody should be held accountable because of one person. We're not in the joint. We're not busted. We're all living our lives. We all have things to do. We all have jobs and bills and responsibilities for our family. It's not saying that we ain't willing to crash out over some dumb shit. Because some of us are. Some of us have.
Yes, I agree with that. We all have families and responsibilities. You know, we're not trying to crash out over something somebody said on the internet. That's not the point. We could have these conversations without wanting to do something to each other over words that came from the internet. Right? Now, I'll defend myself if it came to it, but am I looking to cause harm to somebody or crash out on somebody just because of what they said on the internet? Absolutely not. It's not that serious. We come here to address things to see if we could better the situation so that we can gain a better understanding of what's going on. The problem that I have with a lot of, people like Sonny is they want to say, well, hip hop, you can't tell us what hip hop is. Hip hop doesn't come from your culture. Your people participate in hip hop, but hip hop comes from our culture, and we have every right to uphold it and protect it. Because if you don't say nothing, 50 years from now, they'll be saying that everybody created hip hop together in America. To take away from, they want to muddy the waters. Let me just put it like that. If foundational Black Americans never stood up to say, hey, this is where hip hop comes from, here's the receipts, it comes from our culture. If we would have never did that, 40 years from now, they would have said that Americans in general created hip hop. They'll just rewrite. What they'll do is they'll rewrite the history, and other people will take credit for it. Other people who never had anything to do with the creation would be taking credit for it if we didn't put our foot down and say, no, the buck stops here. This is where hip hop comes from. This is where we did it. This is how it happened. This is where hip hop derives from. So it takes foundational Black Americans to stand up and speak out against this nonsense, because if you don't, they'll rewrite history. If we don't stand up, if we don't stand on business, these people will rewrite history about hip hop and its origins and where it derives from. So I think we did a good job standing up for what we created, because white people have stole whites have stole many things from us throughout history. And we're not going to let history repeat itself. This is why we've been going so hard to say, no, everything we do, we got to put a stamp on it. We got to put a timeline on it. Because if we don't, other people will lie, erase the history, and then speak on things from their perspective, which means their story, which is a complete just a bold-faced lie. They'll erase history and tell their story. They'll fabricate things. They'll muddy the waters. So it's very important that we have these conversations so that 20 years later, the people ain't confused about what it really was and how it went down.
But to make a whole group sound like we're racist because we don't agree with some of the things the blacks might have said. One of the biggest arguments that they have is, we made rap music. I'm proud of you. Biggest argument.
Here we go about one of their biggest arguments is, we made rap music. We did. We're not going to let people lie about the history. We're not going to let people take credit for something that they never did. So you're damn right. We're going to speak on it with pride. We're going to stay 10 toes down. You're not going to erase history just to tell your story. We're not going to go for that. We've allowed way too many. We've allowed people to steal what we created. We've allowed people to muddy the waters because we ain't got enough people standing up to say, no, the buck stops here. This is how it happened. This is how it went down. We should have nipped this situation in the bud a long time ago, and we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
That they have is, we made rap music. Sound like we're racist because we don't agree with some of the things the blacks might have said. One of the biggest arguments that they have is, we made rap music. I'm proud of you. We sing oldies. Again, I'm proud of you. It doesn't mean Raza doesn't do it. It doesn't mean whites don't do it. It doesn't mean Orientals don't do it. Some guy, very smart, a black individual from the black community, said, rap is about street life. It belongs to the streets. It doesn't belong to a group of people, an individual.
Oh, he said rap is about street life. It don't belong to a group of people. Now, you notice they never say anything. They never say that about their culture. They'll tell you that this is Chicano culture, da da da. Same with Asians. It's cool for everybody to talk about what they created. Now, look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The Brazilians made sure that you knew this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They didn't just call it Jiu-Jitsu because they wanted you to know the origins of it. That's why they specifically said this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that you're not confused about it. There's no way you can get that confused. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. BJJ. And we should have did the same thing with hip hop. To dead conversations like this. He said hip hop don't belong to anybody, it's for the streets. Once again, trying to erase the pioneers in the history of it. But that's exactly what these people do. Everything we create as black people, they try their best to minimize what we did and say, oh, it was everybody who did it. It wasn't black people, everybody. We did it together. Hip hop is street culture. It belongs to no one. What? How you going to tell us what hip hop? How you going to tell us what's hip hop and what's not? Sonny, you're a Mexican. Hip hop has nothing to do with Mexican culture. You're not going to minimize what we did to say that, no, hip hop is not for just anybody. Hip hop is street culture. Nobody can claim it. So nobody can claim hip hop. It's just street culture, and it's up for the taking. Anybody can just grab it. It's up for the taking. Never mind the people who created, never mind the people who created it, never mind the culture that it comes from. Yes, we're gonna erase all of that and just call it street culture. That's that Spanish conquistador mindset. That is that Spanish conquistador mindset.
I'm proud of you. We sing oldies. Again, I'm proud of you. It doesn't mean Raza doesn't do it. It doesn't mean whites don't do it. It doesn't mean Orientals don't do it. Some guy, very smart, a black individual from the black community said, rap is about street life. It belongs to the streets. It doesn't belong to a group of people and individuals. It doesn't belong to the blacks. It don't belong to the Mexicans. It don't belong to the Chicanos. It don't belong to the Asians. It don't belong to the whites. It belongs to the streets. And I couldn't agree more. You know what I mean? I give that man props. That was a perfect way of me, how I think about it, because it is. It's from the streets. You know what I mean? There's even an argument among the blacks and Hispanics over there in the East Coast on who started it. I could care less who started it. If there's some good music out there, I'm going to listen to it.
We don't expect you to care because your people didn't create it. He don't care who started. We care because it comes from our culture. We're not going to let you guys rewrite history. Oh, no, hip-hop is just street culture. It doesn't belong to the blacks. Hip-hop is not black culture. Black people didn't create it.
And I couldn't agree more. You know what I mean? I give that man props. That was a perfect way of me, how I think about it, because it is. It's from the streets. You know what I mean? There's even an argument among the blacks and Hispanics over there in the East Coast on who started it. I could care less who started it. If there's some good music out there, I'm going to listen to it, no matter who sings it, whether it's black, white, Mexican, Asian, fucking a Martian. I don't care. If they're going to give music, I'm going to listen to it. I listen to a wide variety of music. I listen to oldies, I listen to soft rock, I listen to some rap, very little rap. A lot of people say that I am acting like if I'm black. I don't see it. I don't dress like I'm black or what people might consider being black. I wear Ben Davis. Yeah, I wear Ben Davis. That's something that came from my cultura, as far as I know. Somebody said I was imitating a black because I said, what's cracking? I've been saying what's cracking since I was a kid. That was a saying that back in the early 80s that people were saying.
It don't come from Mexican culture. What's cracking comes from black people. Let's be real. We've never used Mexican slang in Los Angeles. Never. We've always had our own vernacular, period. What's cracking does not come from Mexican culture. You know what I mean? When you say, oh, man, you a hater, you a player hater, that comes from foundational black Americans. You know, when people rhyme when they speak, let's take a deep dive to the other side. Let's get it. Can you dig? That comes from black culture. People rhyming when they speak, coming with lingo and swagger. That's FBA culture. The oldies, Motown, Smokey Robinson, Al Green, the Isley Brothers, James Brown. You know what I'm saying? Rick James. And then you think about hip hop. All hip hop was they sampled oldies and stuff and created hip hop. Hip hop comes from our oldies, the music that we created prior to hip hop. That's where the elements of hip hop come from. You wouldn't know that because none of this music comes from your culture, so you don't really understand it. But don't get it twisted for 1 second. We've never used slang that come from Mexicans. All the slang we use today, and if you go back to the 70s, the 60s, all this slang that we use comes from foundational black Americans. We never copied anybody's slang. We never copied anybody's music. We've never needed another race to help us to create any music. I'm just here to set the record straight.
People might consider being black. I wear Ben Davis. Yeah, I wear Ben Davis. That's something that came from my cultura, as far as I know. Somebody said I was imitating a black because I said what's cracking. I've been saying what's cracking since I was a kid. That was the same.
Let me show this goofy right here. Baby Quan Quan. People wasn't talking like that. If you go back to the 60s and the 70s, people who talk smooth and rhyme like that, yeah, all that comes from FBA culture. It don't come from your people. All that slick talk, rhyming with slick talk, bringing flavor and swag to the conversation while rhyming, that's foundational Black American swagger. And if you can't admit that, then I ain't got nothing to say to you. You're just a troll. Everybody knows that swagger comes from FBA culture. You can go back to the 60s and 70s and seeing the swagger of Black people, how we talk, our style, the smoothness, the swagger. That comes from our culture 100%. You don't see no other races talking in the same vernacular, talking with swag and style like us, unless they study us for a long period of time and they copy everything we do. But the originators of that language and that style comes from FBA people. Don't nobody talk with style and swagger like an FBA brother. Nobody.
That when I back in the early 80s that people were saying. Just like there's chill out, Holmes. It's what's cracking.
Show me Mexicans back. And listen, the zoot suits even come from Black people. The Harlem Renaissance era. When Mexicans start wearing zoot suits, who you think they got it from? I'm going to show you a video. The Pachucos, the essays who were the zoot suits. That comes from Black culture. The Black musicians made the zoot suits popular. And then eventually the Mexicans took on that culture. I'm going to show you a video of where the zoot suits come from and who made it popular. And how Mexicans was influenced by Blacks who wore zoot suits, then they created the Pachuco zoot suit culture. But don't get it twisted for 1 second. Mexicans were not wearing zoot suits before they seen Black people rocking those zoot suits. We made the zoot suits popular. The Harlem Renaissance era.
I don't see it. I don't dress like I'm Black or what people might consider being Black. I wear Ben Davis. Yeah, I wear Ben Davis. That's something that came from my cultura, as far as I know. Somebody said I was imitating a Black because I said what's cracking. I've been saying what's cracking since I was a kid. That was a saying that when I back in the early 80s that people were saying. Just like there's chill out, Holmes. It's what's cracking. Just, it doesn't belong to people. I don't know why everybody else wants to claim something, claim like they started everything. But they're struggling like the rest of us. If you own it, then make some money off it. Or start charging people for it. If you own it. If you don't own it, you ain't got no right to say anything. If you didn't start it, make it.
It comes from our culture, fool. See, this is why we're having these conversations, because people like this got so much envy that they're not even real enough to say, you know what, hip hop does come from Black culture. The Black musicians in Harlem are the ones who made the zoot suits popular. Black people was wearing zoot suits way before Mexicans started doing it. Blacks was wearing zoot suits before Mexicans ever even thought about it. So that Pachuco culture, that zoot suit culture, that comes from foundational Black Americans. That's where you guys got it from.
Invent it. You ain't got no right to say it don't belong to you. It belongs to another man.
Listen to the nonsense he's saying.
I was a kid. That was a saying that when I back in the early 80s that people were saying. Just like there's chill out, Holmes. It's what's cracking. Just, it doesn't belong to people. I don't know why everybody else wants to claim something, claim like they started everything. But they're struggling like the rest of us.
We did. We started hip hop. We created hip hop. We created jazz, rock and roll, the blues, country music. You know what I mean? Gospel, R&B, Motown, funk music, disco. you name it. We're gonna listen, homie. We're gonna speak up for the things that we created. We're not gonna let people like you muddy the water and say, "Oh, we did it together." No, you're not gonna lie about history. That's been going on for too long, and we decided to put our foot down and say, "No." Everything we create, we got to put a stamp on it because people like this want to twist it and lie about the history. I bet money if Mexicans created hip hop, they would gatekeep it. They would let you know that that was Mexican culture if they were the ones who actually created it. You notice that everybody gets mad when foundational Black Americans stand up for the things that we created. It's okay to talk about Asian culture. It's okay to talk about Mexican culture. The moment you start talking about FBA culture and what we created, you got people like this who want to come out of the woodwork and say, "No, it's for everybody, man. It's for everybody." That's just like Latinos in the Bronx tried to say that hip hop was Bronx culture. No, hip hop came from the foundational Black Americans who was living in the Bronx. Just like other races of people who came to the Bronx, they brought their culture, whether it be from the Caribbean or wherever they came from. They took their culture with them to New York City. Well, that's the same thing that foundational Black Americans did. When foundational Black Americans migrated to New York in bigger numbers because they was already there. But when they migrated there in larger numbers, they brought a lot of their culture with them. And that is what gave birth to hip hop. So we're not going to sit up here and say that it's Bronx culture. No, it's foundational Black American culture. The FBAs who moved to the Bronx brought their culture with them, and that's what gave birth to hip hop. Don't get it twisted for 1 second. Hip hop comes from FBA culture. Because if you don't say that, then they'll try to come with this proximity argument. Well, since I'm from the Bronx, I'm hip hop. I don't care that you was living in the Bronx. Hip hop don't come from your culture. That's like me saying I'm from Los Angeles and we created tacos 50-50 with Mexicans because we live next door to them. That would be a dumb argument. So we're going to take credit for their culture just because we live next door to them, just because we live in the same neighborhood? Nah, it don't work like that.
If you own it, then make some money off it. Start charging people for it. If you own it. If you don't own it, you ain't got no right to say anything. If you didn't start it, make it, invent
He
it.
said we don't have the right to say anything about a culture that we started. Now, how disrespectful is that? We ain't got a right to say nothing about it because the small hats run some of the companies. Well, you know, whites run America. And whites have stolen everything. So guess what? Black talent, what happened was they used black talent to get rich. Look at these corporations and companies. Look at the beginning of America. Prior to the slave trade in America, there was no real wealth in this country. The United States of America became a superhouse because of the free labor and countless inventions that they got from foundational Black Americans. The United States of America was no powerhouse prior to the slave trade. The United States of America became a powerhouse after the slave trade. Black labor created wealth for white people. Same thing is going on today. Look at all the talent in the NBA. Black talent makes white people wealthy. Black people were poor, they were in poverty. So these small hats took advantage of blacks in the inner cities who had talent. So they created these rat companies and said, okay, black people are the talent. We're just the owners of the company. That's systematic white supremacy. Whites got wealthy off of our free labor in this country. Then they created all type of corporations and companies. Still to this day, you got white people who get rich and wealthy off of our talents. Ain't nothing new. There's nothing new going on. There's nothing new underneath the sun. Maybe technology, but when you think about the mentality and how things done, black talent and black labor has created wealth for this country, 100%. So we're not talking about who owns the corporations and the companies. We're talking about who's the creators of the music. Where did the music come from? It came from our culture. It came from our people. We already know that small hats own a lot of these record labels and companies. We understand that. That's not the point.
But they're struggling like the rest of us. If you own it, then make some money off it. Start charging people for it. If you own it. If you don't own it, you ain't got no right to say anything. If you didn't start it, make it, Event it. You ain't got no right to say it don't belong to you. It belongs to another man.
Now he gonna tell us who hip hop belongs to. Okay, well, stop waving Mexican flags because you don't run Mexico. You don't make decisions for Mexico. So why wave a Mexican flag? You don't own the flag. You don't make decisions for Mexico. You don't call shots for Mexico. The brown people in Mexico get treated bad. The Spaniard, white-looking people are the ones who run Mexico, not the melanated, brown-skinned people. So stop claiming Mexico when you don't make decisions for Mexico. You don't. But I guess you don't. I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear that.
I didn't really even want to address the situation because I know how it is. We get ignorance in there. People start getting ignorant and starts talking shit, disrespecting. They don't even get the point. The point is, you know what? An individual said something. Okay, it's not the first time it's happened. It's not going to be the last time. It's not the end of the world, and we don't need a bunch of idiots, knuckleheads that want to start some shit over the internet, never participate, start some shit and talk shit and instigate shit like Adam 16. He instigated all this shit. He went and started all this, pumped it up, hyped it up, and now look where it's at. All over stupidity. All over dumb shit. Some fucking words. We know it ain't true. You know what ain't true. Why you get offended? But it's all right because they say that a black cannot be racist because he's black. We all know that's a crock of shit. Everybody can be racist. You know, you call me a wetbag, you call me a beaner, or whatever, Mexican, whatever you want to say. And you don't think somebody's going to respond back? And then when they do, you want to get upset and act like you never said anything wrong? You know, I don't know that dude from 40s that's been calling out Lucky. I don't know anything about him. He said he wants to take it for his people. It's not going to happen.
Bless the Cash App and bless the Super Chat for some of this hard-hitting content. You know, I believe I'm one of the first LA brothers who've been calling out the Chicano community for their anti-blackness. You know, shout out to Bobby Ye, man, Imperial Vision. I watched one of his streams and he said, I believe Red Supreme pioneered this. And listen, that ain't me trying to take credit, but you guys know I've been calling this community out for a long time and being respectful about it, just pointing out obvious things, not using racial slurs, not saying anything like that. I've been calling out the Chicano community for the anti-blackness that goes on in their culture. You know, the firebombing of black residents for living in their communities. The fact that they align themselves with skinheads, Nazis, and white supremacists in prison. So I've been calling these people out for their anti-blackness. The LA City Council, Nuri Martinez, Kevin De Leon said a lot of crazy things about black people when they thought wasn't nobody listening. They got put on blast for it. Somebody recorded them, and you know why somebody recorded them? Because they've been doing it for a long time. And that person said, the next time they start talking greasy about blacks, I'm going to record it and put it on the internet to put these people on blast. But don't get it twisted for 1 second. Nuri Martinez, Kevin De Leon, and the Los Angeles City Council, they've been talking greasy about blacks for a long time. The only thing is they just happened. The only thing is somebody recorded them this time and put them on blast. They exposed them. But they've been talking greasy like that behind closed doors for a long time. It just took a while for them to get caught. So it ain't just gangbangers, it's politicians. People on the streets, people in prison, and politicians from the brown Chicano community that's had a lot of animosity and hatred towards blacks. That is a known fact.
Just let the shit go. It's over with. If you really wanna push those kind of fucking
racial slurs that get you blocked, because I don't use racial slurs. So why would I let people use racial slurs in my comments? You know? So nobody's allowed. No, listen. Nobody can use racial slurs in my chat. I mean, nobody. I don't care what race you are. Don't put racial slurs in my chat. We address people, we address them, but we dissect their talking points, but we don't hurl racial slurs or racial insults. We dissect their talking points. We battle them intellectually. But please, no racial slurs in my comments. No racial slurs in my chat.
Narratives, then maybe you should start with your own people first. Start with your own people. Every time somebody gets disrespectful, find them, get busy with them, take that fade, or whatever you got to do. And maybe things can start changing. Because I know when it comes to Raza deals with their problems. You might not know about it, but all problems get dealt with one way or another. Okay? And one of the most disrespectful things that I've ever heard is BJ Knockout saying that we're all rats. We all know that ain't true. Anybody who's been in the system knows that ain't true. That shit started from him instigating some shit, but he ain't gonna do nothing about it. And then when apparently some paperwork came out about him, all of a sudden it's a foul, right? Everybody's being a racist towards him.
Man, nobody's saying about that. You got black people said if BG Knockout told, then he told. Nobody's making excuses for BG. Now, I don't know if he's guilty or he's not. I've seen a few black podcasters say if he's guilty for telling, then we're going to hold him accountable. But nobody said that you guys are racist for calling him out for this so-called paperwork, right? Nobody said that. You got a lot of blacks, like I said before. You got blacks saying if BG Knockout did tell, then we're going to hold him accountable. So nobody's defending that. I don't know what you're talking about, Sonny.
Just because you do not agree with somebody does not make it racism. Make it racist.
Shout out to I gotta say, shout out to Go Gadget for the super chat. Shout out to Brutally Honest for the super chat. He said, Birmingham, Alabama. Hey, that's my hometown. That's where my roots come from, homie. My roots come from Birmingham, Alabama. That's where my parents are from. That's where my family are. You know, my family reside there. Let me put it like that. Shout out to you, man, for the super chat. Birmingham, stand up. Go Gadget. Shout out to you, my brother, for the super chat as well.
People do not agree. That doesn't make it racist. At some point, we got to grow up. Ain't nobody scared. Ain't nobody trying to fucking run and dodge from somebody. You know what I mean? We don't want our elderly hurt, our women hurt, our kids hurt. Especially over some dumb shit. Especially because there's not going to be any repercussions for what they do. But there will be repercussions if we do something stupid like that.
So he said black people don't have no repercussions for doing crazy things, but Mexicans do. Oh, man. Sonny. So you mean to tell me the firebombing? You guys don't even firebomb the houses of white folks for living in your community. But you have firebomb black people houses for living in your community. But you're supposed to be a brown person, but you're aligning yourselves with white people. You've never attacked white people like that. Because you know why? I think you know why. White people ain't going to tolerate that. Your whole hood will mess around and get indicted on federal charges if you firebomb the houses of white folks who are living in your community. I think you know that. So you leave the white man alone. And you make foundational black Americans your target for hatred and racism in East Los Angeles, La Puente, El Monte.
Have a blessed one. You guys stay safe. And all you commenters that are going to...
All right, let's go to the next clip. I'm actually having fun with this one, man. Shout out to my man, Bobby Yeye, Imperial Vision. He over there doing his thing. Shout out to Bobby.
Tracking, everybody. Saludos, buenos dias. Hey, check it out. I'm watching a Red Supreme video. This clown, and I'm going to call him a clown now because he's referring to me as a bozo, and amongst other things. So check this out, man. I won't play the audio. I'm not going to play the clip because I don't know how this dude is, if he's going to
report me or whatever.
I don't report people, man. I don't report videos. That's one thing I don't do. I don't report videos. You know, people are welcome to use videos and add commentary. I don't snitch to YouTube. I don't run to the YouTube authorities. I would never do that. I've never done it ever since I've been on YouTube, and I never will. I've had people say crazy things about me that you can only imagine, and I never flagged their channels or reported them to the YouTube authorities.
So I'm just going to do the audio. If he doesn't report me, I'm not saying he does. I just don't know. So the first thing he's talking about when I turn that on is he's talking about Icon and supposedly June 19th, Juneteenth, which is a black holiday, a new black holiday. I don't really know too much about it. I don't participate in it. I don't get anything from it. I don't disrespect them. They can
Shout out to Virgil Berry for the Cash App. Shout out to Scoop for the Cash App.
have their holiday, and no, nothing against that. But he's speaking about that Icon was saying that something about them not being represented, Rasa not being represented at their concert. I completely agree with them. I agree with Supreme on that fact. It's not why should we be included in their thing? But I can't speak for Icon, just like Icon can't speak for me. I don't know what Icon said. I didn't hear him, so I'm not gonna say he was right or wrong. I just don't know. But I'm gonna tell you from their point of view, all Rasa is trying to be part of hip hop and part of the black culture, which is not true. A lot of Rasa don't even listen to hip hop. As far as rappers, it's very few Rasa that are actually rappers or indulged in that kind of lifestyle or that culture, but it's not all of us. And we all shouldn't be taking the heat and being disrespected because of a few that are doing it. Just like there's blacks that run around with shirts representing Mexico, and there's blacks that side with Mexicans. Let's be honest. So I'm
Well,
listen to this.
how come there wasn't no Mexican representation? Seriously, on a black holiday? Where the Mexican community ain't done nothing for black people in America? They never fought for no laws that benefit us. They only fight for things that benefit them. But for some reason, he felt like we should have had more La Raza representation on a Juneteenth holiday. That's laughable. And
See, he says he felt that way. I never said that. I didn't think like that. I don't even know who that, what is his name, Kendrick is. I don't even know who he is. I don't listen to his music. I'm assuming he's a rapper, but I don't listen to his music, and I never asked for Raza to participate in their functions.
for that, you don't even know what Juneteenth is, but you want to be added to our mix. You want to be added to our mix, and you ain't even got enough respect for our culture to even understand what Juneteenth is.
See, he wants us to know what Juneteenth is. Why would I want to know what Juneteenth is? It's nothing to do with me or my gente. But he wants to throw us all in a box. That's where one of his biggest mistakes is. He wants to throw us all in a box.
Now imagine us allowing some people who are anti-black to just look at their politics. Look at all the bullshit that comes from their culture. And on top of that, he didn't have enough respect to understand what Juneteenth was, but he felt like we should have had more Mexicans, well, we should have had Mexicans representing at a Juneteenth event when they don't even understand what they...
Now, he keeps harping on this politics. He brings up Southsiders and Sureños. I don't think he understands what a Sureño is. And
Oh, I know the difference between a Southsider and a Sureño. I know that. A Sureño, you got to graduate to become a Sureño. You know, not all Southsiders can't become Sureños. That's something you got to graduate to become. You got to graduate to that status. So I get it.
what a Southsider is. I don't think he understands that. I might be wrong. He might know, but I don't think he does.
Oh, I know the difference between the Serrano and the Southsider. You know, a Serrano is higher on the food chain than a Southsider. I get it. You got to graduate to Serrano status by putting in some work. I get it.
Top it off.
So when people say Serranos, we can't use that word loosely because a lot of these guys are just Southsiders. A lot of these guys will never graduate to become a Serrano. So when we talk about Mexican gangbangers in general, we got to call them Southsiders because the majority of these guys are not Serranos. You got to graduate to that status.
Whether he believes it or not, in his mind, all our politics are behind blacks. And that's not true. The only politic that we have behind blacks is we are not to, it is in our best interest not to mingle with them in the prison system. Because that avoids any kind of racial conflict. The least we deal with them, the less chance of a riot jumping off and people getting hurt. That's the politics, what he's talking about. Anything other than that, he has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to politics. There is no anti-black politics with us. We don't sit there and talk about blacks and their business, and we stay out of their business, especially in jail. Okay, so again, he throws us all in one category. He throws us all in one box and think that all raza is trying to jump on a bandwagon with hip-hop. Like a lot of rappers think that everything is evolved around hip-hop. It doesn't. We have our lives. I listen to oldies. There's black people that sing oldies. There's whites. There's Hispanic. There's all kinds of different oldies from different people. And that's what I listen to. I even listen to recent music that comes out on the radio. Or I even listen to Coast FM, which is soft music. And my wife listens to classical. And no means am I sitting there trying to be part of the black community or their culture or anything else. In my household, we don't sit at the dinner table and talk about blacks. It's not irrelevant to us. There is not a big population of blacks in East Los Angeles. There are blacks. And when I see them, I'm cordial with them. I got no problem with them. They can live wherever they want, do whatever they want. But now, if they were writing on the walls and just like gangbangers over here, if we do, nobody likes it. And that's just a general thing. So let's go back to this.
Juneteenth is. You talk about being. All right, let's go to the Zoot Suits riot, man. We're gonna go to another clip, and we're gonna show you our participation in the Zoot Suits riot and what we did. And check this out.
80 years ago, Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, we're going to show you how the Chicano, Mexicano community got the Zoot Suit identity from foundational Black Americans, right? And they created the Pachuco culture. Before essays was cholos, they were Pachucos. You know, now after the Pachuco culture died off, that's when they started wearing the big Dickies, the Ben Davis, the pants way up to their chest. You know what I'm saying? Before they had Cholo culture, they had Pachuco culture. The Pachuco culture was Mexicans who was running around in Zoot Suits. Make sure that you guys hit the like button. It ain't nothing. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, man. Say, man.
Experienced a very violent event named the Zoot Suit Riots that took place in June of 1943, where a bunch of U.S. servicemen.
Hey, shout out to Big Mitch, man. Hey, man, shout out to Big Mitch, man. Hey, that's a solid brother right there, man. Hey, shout out to Big Mitch. Dig a ditch. Shout out to my bro, man. Las Vegas, brother, most definitely a Las Vegas OG, man. Y'all got to tap in with Big Mitch whenever you guys get the time. Shout out to Big Mitch in the chat, man. I appreciate you, my brother. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Terrell Stewart, aka Big Mitch. Shout out to bro, man. Yeah, subscribe to that brother's channel, man. If you want to understand Las Vegas history and Las Vegas culture, you gotta tap in with Big Mitch and subscribe to his channel. The brother's intelligent, and I love his whole get down in the way that he does, in the way that he does things. So we rocking with Big Mitch 100%.
Police officers and civilians thought that they would go and attack Latino residents. Now, let's take it back to 1942, where World War II was going on, and the United States government wanted to put forth an effort to preserve resources. And among those resources was wool, a textile that's usually used to make clothes, rather. Well, an underground market of the zoot suits came about, where people were using the wool to make zoot suits. Now let's go back even further than that. The zoot suits actually originate in Harlem, New York, where black people, because you know we the originators of a whole lot of things, were wearing the zoot suits. To be exact, now of course the zoot suit is a suit that is a very long jacket with baggy pants that are tapered. Also with the zoot suit, a hat might be worn, very long pocket watch with a chain, and you know, other things that make it do what it do. So of course that fashion spread to that of Los Angeles, California, where Latino young men would, you know, wear the zoot suits to be fashionable or what have you. And some said, well, gangs wore them too. They actually called the Latino men that wore the suits pachucos. And so the pachuco young men would wear those. Now, the servicemen that would come from Long Beach did not like that. When they got off of the boats, they would see the Latino youth wearing the zoot suits, and they felt like that was unpatriotic because they should be reserving that wool for them, because that's what they were actually using the wool for, to make the servicemen's uniform as they were off to war and things like that. Well, let's take it back again to 1942, where a Latino youth, he was found murdered, and that murder was blamed on a gang that, you know, was running around or what have you.
When I tell you the Latinos got their zoot suits from Foundational Black Americans, I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. We had the receipts.
And it is said that 22 of them actually was sentenced to jail for something they really did not do, right? So that was considered to be a grave injustice. All right, let's go back to 1943. I know we're kind of all over the place, but on May 31st, it is said that a serviceman was beaten by Latino youth. And so a couple of days later, about 50 servicemen showed up to the parts of Los Angeles where Latinos were, and beat them up. And so that grew into a big giant riot over the next couple of days, where, as I said, it was servicemen, police officers, and civilians. They would go about Los Angeles seeking out anybody wearing a zoot suit. Well, of course, Latinos weren't the only ones wearing zoot suits. It was also black men. Black men, unfortunately, got gaffled up, if you will, into the riot. And those white men, because let's keep it real, it was white men that comprised of the Navy, the police officers, and civilians. They were snatching black men, Latinos, and Filipinos out of cars, movie theaters, anywhere they can find them, right? And once they would get a hold of them, they would cut the zoot suits off of them, lots of times leaving them half naked in the middle of the street. Now, it is said that one particular black man who was nowhere even involved in any of that, he was actually riding in a cab, and the mob saw him, and he had a work badge on that said he worked at the docks or something like that. They didn't care. They snatched him out of the car and gouged out one of his eyes. Now, it is said that surprisingly, with all that went on, nobody died, but a lot of people were maimed, injured, and arrested. It is also said that many of the people that were arrested were actually the victims, the Black, Latino, and Filipino men. Now, it should also be said that Black men eventually did get involved with helping the Latinos because a pastor by the name of Reverend Clayton Russell, he actually put out a disclaimer, if you will, or a call to action, and it said this: because we in the Negro community are more unified and have greater political power, we must lead in the demand for full police protection of the Mexican community in Los Angeles. We must say to our great United Nations neighbors, Mexico, saludo amigos, and by heaven, we must mean it.
You see how our leaders have always stood with the Chicano community and backed them up, but there's no reciprocation. I want you to see what the pastor said, how us as Blacks, we're going to support them. And I covered this story a year ago, but I covered this story maybe a year ago, but I wanted to do it again to show you how we've always stood with them. Now, do they stand with us? Absolutely not.
That Black men eventually did get involved with helping the Latinos because a pastor by the name of Reverend Clayton Russell, he actually put out a disclaimer, if you will, or a call to action, and it said this: because we in the Negro community are more unified and have greater political power, we must lead in the demand for full police protection of the Mexican community in Los Angeles. We must say to our great United Nations neighbors, Mexico, saludo amigos, and by heaven, we must mean it. So he put out the call and said, hey, we got to go help them, because many are saying it's a known fact that they were going to come for Black people next, which indeed they did do that. Now, also in the NAACP's paper, The Crisis, it was said this: what could make white people more happy than to see their uniform sons snapping up some dark-skinned people? And that was by Chester B. Hines. And so it's not Behind, but B. Hines, like the initial B in Hines. It just caught me right there. But anyway, let me get back to being serious. All right, so that was put out to the Black community. Hey, y'all need to go out there and help.
And we helped them. We helped them. We did.
What could make white people more happy than to see their uniform sons snapping up some dark-skinned people? And that was by Chester B. Hines. And so it's not Behind, but B. Hines, like the initial B in Hines. It just caught me right there. But anyway, let me get back to being serious. All right, and so that was put out to the Black community. Hey, y'all need to go out there and help. And so, yes, Black people, I say Black men, stood hand.
Shout out to Kawaku for the super chat. Shout out to shout out Kawaku for the Cash App. My bad. Kawaku blessed us with a Cash App. Shout out to him. Shout out to Royalty for the Cash App.
Serious. All right, and so that was put out to the Black community. Hey, y'all need to go out there and help. And so, yes, Black people, I say Black men, stood hand in hand with the Latino community and helping them fight off the many evil, demonic white people that were trying to, harm them. But I will say this, because Black people are still no better off anywhere in the United States, especially in California. California has the highest homeless Black population anywhere in the nation, right? And so on my show the other day, I had a Latino gentleman in the comment section basically saying that Hispanics have always stood hand in hand with Black people. And I'm like, well, I think it's the other way around, and that Black people have always stood hand in hand with you all, and you guys are better off because of it, whether it's the civil rights movement and even the Zoot Suit riot, where Black men were called to help the Latinos where they were going through with white, Klansmen and all kind of people, right? And so, again, here we are, and we are still helping Latinos. Now, you might say, well, how is that, Demetra? Well, y'all know that black people disproportionately vote for the Democrats more than we vote for anybody else, right? The Democrats cannot be where they are if it's not for black people. But even still, we are seeing the Democrats bring in more and more migrants so that they can set them up in housing and do for them, while black people are saying, hey, y'all forgot about us. We want our reparations. What about the things that we have done in the United States to help?
It's Florida. What's this dude named Florida native? He in here caping hard for Florida boy. He caping hard for Mexicans. He said, "All Mexicans ain't the same. All white folks ain't bad. All Mexicans ain't the same. You tripping, Red Supreme. You ain't got no business talking about Mexicans because all Mexicans ain't the same. You need to check yourself, Red Supreme." Florida boy is up here caping for the Chicano community heavy. Come on, Florida boy.
The Democrats cannot be where they are if it's not for black people. But even still, we are seeing the Democrats bring in more and more migrants so that they can set them up in housing and do for them, while black people are saying, hey, y'all forgot about us. We want our reparations. What about the things that we have done in the United States to help everybody else? And what about the things that have happened to us in the United States, right? So again, that's one other moment in history how black people were affected, and we still have nothing to show for it. Now, some people say, well, Latinos and Filipinos were affected too. Then go and look and see where they are in society here in America. They're better off, aren't they? Yes, they are. So it's another reason why we as black
All white folks ain't bad. All Chicano Mexicanos ain't bad. You spreading racism and division, Red. All Mexicanos and white folks ain't bad. See, I'm a Christian, Red, and Oz don't talk bad about folks like that. I's a Christian, and I want to bring all those folks together, Red. What you doing is spreading hatred and division, Red. I's a Christian. I'm name is Florida boy, and I believe that all Mexicans ain't bad, Red Supreme. I don't agree with your message. All right, bro, it's cool. All right, bro, it's all gravy. It's all gravy, baby.
everybody else. And what about the things that have happened to us in the United States, right? So again, that's one other moment in history how black people were affected, and we still have nothing to show for it. Now, some people say, well, Latinos and Filipinos were affected too. Then go and look and see where they are in society here in America. They're better off, aren't they? Yes, they are. So another reason why we as black people in America need our reparations. So anyway, y'all tell me what you think of this. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra K Show, here on YouTube. Peace.
All right, man, let's go to this other little clip, man. So the essays got the zoot suit culture from black Americans, man. That's just the reality of it. They got the zoot suits from us. They got hip hop from us.
Spread across. Today on the Daily Dose, zoot suits.
Hit the like button, man. It ain't nothing. All's white folks and Mexicans ain't bad. You're racist, Red Supreme. You creating division.
Born during the hard-scrabble days of the Great Depression by Chitlin Circuit comedian Ernest Skillet Mayhand, by the 1940s, style-conscious dancers in Harlem began wearing baggy suit coats and trousers that exaggerated their movements, along with glittering watch chains and a variety of hats, ranging from fedoras, pork pies, and sombreros.
See, these were blacks, man.
Popularized by such jazz greats as Cab Calloway during the...
Yeah, man, you got to salute Cab Calloway, man, a jazz musician. We the ones that made zoot suits popular. Mexicans saw it, then they mimicked it. They mimicked the culture and started calling themselves Pachucos in Los Angeles. That's where the Mexican Pachucos got their style from, the brothers in Harlem. You got to think, Central Avenue in Los Angeles, the jazz musicians back in the 30s and 40s would perform in Los Angeles with their zoot suits on. So that's where the Mexicans got their Pachuco identity from. They got it from us.
The Harlem Renaissance, the zoot suit craze spread across the country like wildfire. Across the Harlem Renaissance, popularized by such jazz greats as from fedoras, pork pies, and sombreros. Popularized by such jazz greats as Cab Calloway during the Harlem Renaissance, The Zoot Suit craze spread across the country like wildfire, primarily among young African Americans, Mexican Americans, Japanese, and Filipino Americans, which soon caused whites to view minorities.
Mexicans seen us doing it, and then they said, okay, we're gonna do it. You know, we were the jazz musicians, and the Pachuco Mexicans took on that style. They got their identity from, I think we already know who. I just broke that down. You know what I mean? Hold on one second. Somebody said, can we call in? Yes, you can call in. But if you use profanity, listen, there will be no profanity in my chat whatsoever. There will be no profanity whatsoever. So the link is in the chat. If you feel like you can add something to the conversation, listen, we are the creators and the trendsetters. Foundational Black Americans, we are the creators and trendsetters of this culture. That's just the honest to God truth. Then you got Hakeem Andrews said hip hop belonged to the so-called FBA, and Puerto Ricans did help create hip hop. No, they didn't create hip hop. They participated in hip hop. Show me the music that Latinos made prior to hip hop, and I could show you the music that foundational Black Americans created prior to hip hop, and you see where the culture comes from. I said it before and I said it again. Show me one dance move that Latinos made popular in hip hop. You can't see one. All the dance moves that's used in hip hop today comes from FBA. All the new rap styles in hip hop comes from FBA today. If you go back to the inception of hip hop, all the dance moves and all the rapping and rhyming came from us. We influenced that. They've never influenced hip hop. I just got to be real with you. Now, Latinos participated in hip hop, but they never had anything. They never had anything to do with the creation of hip hop. Participation and creation, those are just, it's totally different. It's not the same.
Minorities donning zoot suits as gang members, thugs, and juvenile delinquents. The stereotypes worsened after America's entry into World War II.
Hit the like button, man. There you go. Seems like a mighty long time. You know? Hold on one second. I'm going to go to another clip real quick. Let me go to another clip. Nah, man, Latinos can't claim that they created hip hop, man. They grew up in a household listening to Spanish music. That music has never listened. Name a time and era where Black people rode around in their cars listening to Spanish Latino music. Name a time and era. But I could show you everybody that has listened to our music. Listen, music creates culture. I'm gonna say it again for you people who are slow. Music creates culture. Whoever controls the music dominates the culture. You know, our musicians been on the airways ever since the 18 and 1900s. We're the ones who dominate culture and music. So everybody mimics what they see us doing. It's never been the other way around. Never. You've never seen Black people riding around listening to Latino music. We've never been influenced by their music. So if we've never been influenced by their music, what makes you think that they have something to do with the creation of hip hop when we've never been influenced by none of the music they made? Make it make sense. You got somebody by the name of Bob. So Bob, are you there?
Yeah.
You got the floor, man.
Okay. I actually been listening to your blogs, and I was just wanted to kind of debate or kind of rebuttal when you were saying that Mexicans are trying to take over rap and hip hop based on what Royalty said. You were saying that Royalty said that he only needed his people to buy and support his movement, right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay, so first of all, and then you also made it like it was some type of conspiracy theory where you were saying that Mexicans were getting together behind the doors and they were on code to supposedly take over rap and hijack it and claim it as theirs, or only kind of mess around and support their people. But all those are false narratives, in my opinion, that you're kind of spewing.
When royalty said, I'm gonna use black culture to make money, and I'm only gonna sell to my own people. See, this is why we look at it that way. You've never seen black people. We've never made music from anybody else's culture, right? Because if you go back to jazz, rock, all the music that people enjoy in this country comes from us, and that ain't me being arrogant or egotistical. It's just the truth. So if we took mariachi music and say, okay, we're going to take mariachi music and only sell it to our people, and we don't need Mexicans, people will look at that a certain way. So they're going to say, oh, you're going to make music from our culture and only cater to your people and make music off of our culture. I don't think you guys would see that in a positive light. I don't think you would.
You gotta okay, but when you first, it's gonna take me a while maybe to land this point, but when Royalty said this, he was saying that something that he already did. And when you said it, you were making it seem like this is something that Mexicans were getting together right now as of this moment to do, when it's really not that. If anything, Mexican, or there is no money in Mexican rap or in rap for Mexican people or in Chicano rap. That sound or that movement already passed when Royalty already made his money from Chicano rap. Chicano rap was something that was kind of brewing and popping maybe the 90s and the early 2000s, and it
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of died off. He already made all his money with Low Profile Records and Little Rob and all these guys, Mr. Sancho, Mr. Shadow, all these Night Owl, all these guys in the early 2000s from the swap meet, when you could just go to the swap meet, and a lot of Chicanos, they were looking for like an identity, a movement to latch onto, and they were looking at the movies and they were seeing all the cholos and bald headed, and they were looking to kind of form an identity as a teenager. So they were latching on to the Chicano culture. So they would go to the swap meets. This was probably before the internet or in the beginning of the internet,
Yeah,
where they'll
yeah,
go
yeah.
to the swap meet and they'll buy these albums with their identity. When they see it on the cover, you see a bald dude with LA, all that. So they were buying all these CDs, and he already got rich, or he already made his money from that. Right now, it's another culture now with the internet and the wave that it came out. I don't even know who this culture belongs to because it's so watered down. But the Mexican kids, they losing that Chicano. They don't even want to be Chicano, or they're kind of moving, they're going away from that because they're saying that this is the new cool, saying the N word. Even people in LA, they're trying to say the N word a little bit too much, and they're kind of drifting away from and losing the culture, if anything. So, if anything, they're losing the culture, and they kind of want to assimilate more to trying to say the N word and trying to be in that type of. But that is just really not going to last, for them. For if anything, they would have to kind of recreate and come out with the Chicano rap to kind of create a niche, because right now they're kind of being losing the sound, and there's other rappers. They're trying to compete basically in a league with other rappers that they're gonna get lost in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, the young Mexicans understand that being a cholo really has no place in hip hop. So if they're influenced by hip hop, they know being a cholo, that's not going to work. That's why the Mexican youth has abandoned cholo culture, because they want to be embraced and accepted in hip hop. That's why.
Okay, I see that. I see that point you're making, but by doing that, they're losing. What's it called? They're losing that. Basically, you go from you're competing by abandoning the cholo culture or the Chicano rap, and you're saying I'm just hip hop. You're losing your sound, and then you're losing your identity, and then you're also losing the money in a way, because now you got to compete against who's the top rappers right now. Whoever's the top rappers are right now, you're competing against these dudes, and other people are looking at it like, okay, what's so special about you? Like, what's so special about you? You're just a Mexican, or you're a Hispanic dude, and you're trying to say the N word. But what do I want? Do I want do I want the real food? Do I want the real, do I want the real taco, or do I want the real, the watered down taco, or do I want the real soul food, or do I want some watered down soul
Yeah,
food?
yeah.
It's like,
I
what
get
am,
what you're saying.
yeah.
I
And
get what you're saying.
so if I'm thinking, if they were to just say, you know what, I'm gonna embrace being Chicano, I'm gonna embrace this sound, and I'm just gonna cater to Chicano. At least I can make my money like that. I'm gonna at least find a niche that people are gonna latch onto. Because if I go to the other field, I got to compete with all these other people. I'm competing now with these people, and it's just never, like you said. I think it might never get accepted. Like, who's right now the only guy that's, I think, the top Mexican rappers that are making money is Peso. I think it's Peso. Maybe it was Money Sign Suede before he got
Yeah.
a couple guys like him, Swifty Blue, and Peso, Swifty Blue, Chito Ranas. They still try to somewhat keep it with the game banging and all that. They keep it a little bit raza, but other than that, I don't see a lot of them like a niche. I don't see like a big amount of these guys that are
Well, that's
taking
gonna
up.
that's gonna be a up, that's gonna be an uphill battle because like anytime you make music from somebody else's culture, then you can't expect to be the top dogs in somebody else's culture. That's not gonna work. That's just like if we tried to make mariachi music. Why would we expect like we're not gonna outshine Mexicans in mariachi music? That just wouldn't make any sense. It just wouldn't make any sense at all. Now, when you think about Chicano rap, you're basically saying, okay, we're gonna create our own style of rap, even though we know that rap comes from black culture. Because what people don't understand is the music we created prior to hip hop gave birth to rap. All the samples that came from rap was from black oldies and jazz members, and so they took everything from all the music we created prior. Then that created hip hop. That is what gave birth to hip hop, and a lot of people don't understand that. So my thing is this: um, you can't come into somebody else's culture and ask them how come we're not at the top of the food chain in somebody else's culture. That'll never work. My advice would be to if Mexicans found a way to make music from their own culture popular, I think they would do a whole lot better in music, because saying why we're not at the top of hip hop when it's not your culture and it doesn't come from your people. Like if you look at the music we created prior to hip hop and you look at the stuff, it's like the elements of hip hop was already there. So it's like it's a dead giveaway. We know where it comes from. My thing is this. Now, Chicano rap, they made money off of that, but it was just only people from the Mexican community listen to that. That music never appealed to people worldwide. So what a lot of the young Mexicans want to do, they say, okay, we want to expand past our people. But what they don't realize is you're mimicking another culture. So you're not going to be as popular or successful as the people who originated the culture. So that's a struggle that they're going to have. My thing is this, man, if you want to be recognized in music, you got to be original. You got to be the creators of that music. You got to be the creators of that music to get the shine that you actually want. We'll never outshine other races in music that comes from their culture, and we don't try to do that. This is why we always make music from our own culture. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but what you're saying is cool. But right now, I would say that kind of hip hop is like a dying genre. Like, when's the last time, and you could name to me a hit song, when's the last time you heard a song that kind of made be like, oh man, I love this song, or I'm really feeling this song. And if you have like a hit song that you even hear at the stores, like a number one hit song. You don't have to
I
show it
don't
to me
even listen
based.
to black rappers. Like, listen, I agree with you because I don't like record sales ain't what they used to be. You right. You got some artists that's at the top to make money, but as a whole, the rap game ain't what it used to be. You can't depend on record sales to make money. You got to do other things. So I agree. I don't even listen to the majority of black rappers. I think the majority of rap today sucks. All of it. That's just my honest opinion. When I listen to rap, I listen to rap from maybe the early 90s. I mean, you got some cool songs that come out nowadays here and there, but for the most part, I don't listen to rap, period. I don't care what color they are. I believe that rap and hip hop has been compromised and it's fell off.
Yeah. Well, I think that like I said, I think that there's artists that could make it regardless of race or what culture they come from, because it's been proven already, right? Because like let's say Eminem and guys like
Yeah.
that, they've had their place in hip hop. If you got what it takes to make a hit song that people are gonna like, you're gonna make it. You know, Post Malone, he was another white dude, and he was straight up white suburban. He had braids and he had grills, and I think people looked at him like the ultimate culture vulture or whatever for putting on grills, and he wasn't even grown. His dad worked for the Dallas Cowboys, and he still succeeded. Nobody kind of threw so much hate at him,
Well,
and
he's
he.
white. You know, when you're white, it's easier for whites to make it in hip hop than Mexicans because white people got a whole machine behind them, right? Like, so it is easier for whites to make it because most of these corporations and companies are ran by white people. You know, black talent, but white people are the ones who control the majority of these corporations and companies. So yes, it's going to be a whole lot easier for a white person to become successful than it would be for a Mexican. A Mexican, he got to have like a real fan base for his community from his community that support his music, right? And you know, white people on the other hand, you know, they're the majority of this country and they own most of the companies and corporations. So it's going to be easier to push a white artist than it would be to push a Mexican or Latino artist. That's just the reality of it. But man, any last thoughts, man, before I pass the microphone to somebody?
I just want to know basically what was your point, because you were making a lot of these lives, and like what was the message that you were trying to convey in totality? Because all this started from Lucky from Hoodstocks making that the comment he made, correct?
All I'm saying is when you got people trying to contest where the culture and music comes from, that's all I wanted to do is set the record straight on that. Like you can't come into something and not respect the originators, the creators. And what I've seen a lot of Latinos do is try to say this and that. It's like, let's be real. And I don't say this with no disrespect. If you look at the music that comes from Latino culture, it has nothing to do with no urban influence. So to even sit up there and pretend like you don't understand where the music comes from, it's utterly ridiculous, man. So I did a lot of content to call out that. Am I mad at Lucky? No, Lucky said what he said, right? So I use this as an opportunity to just talk about other things that actually matters. I think when it comes to black culture, everybody is so used to just taking claim to things that we did to the point to where it just becomes disrespectful. And black people are just saying like, if you can't respect the originators of the culture, then we have no reason inviting you guys in. You know, you got to have respect. I can't go to anybody else's culture and say that, oh, well, this is this and this is that.
Well, there's
If you study
yeah,
the history,
yeah.
if you study the history of hip hop, and you will realize that hip hop actually comes from music that we created prior to that. We've never needed another race to help us create no music. Never. Everything we did came from our culture. Our music comes from our struggles and what we've been through. The Puerto Ricans in New York live next door to black people, but that doesn't mean that they had a hand in creating it. Now they participated, but they had nothing to do with the creation of it. That's like me saying, well, just because I live in LA and I lived in the same neighborhood as Mexicans, we're going to take 50% of the credit when it comes to tacos. That's because we lived in the same neighborhood with them. Like, that's ridiculous. That's all we're saying.
Okay, so I just wanted to say one more thing. Okay, so as far as that goes, I know a lot of Mexicans are saying they were part of creating hip hop or whatever, but I'm thinking, okay, they weren't, right? So they didn't create hip hop, but as hip hop got advanced and more years passed on, hip hop or rap became kind of like part of American street culture, right? And in the streets, you do got different nationalities growing up together, or maybe over there in the ghetto, going through the same struggles, doing the same crimes, and having gangs and all that. So maybe that's why these people, they're so latched on to trying to be part of hip hop or rap, because they're in the ghetto, so they feel like, man, I'm from the streets, I gotta rap, I gotta, so maybe as years pass by, rap became more like American street culture. Do you think that's right or that's wrong?
I mean, yeah, things evolve, and as hip hop evolved, other races and cultures embrace it and participated in it. My problem is when they try to take away when they try to deny the fact of who created it. Like that's not up for debate. There's no argument on that. Now we understand when things evolve, other people will join the movement. We get that. My problem with these people is they don't want to pay homage to the originators and the creators. And if you helped us create hip hop, show us the music that you created prior to hip hop. That's a dead giveaway. We know you didn't have nothing to do with it. Just pay homage and say, okay, we participate in hip hop, but stop trying to say that. No, man, just pay homage to the creators. That's all I'm saying, man. And I appreciate you for pulling up. As long as you pay homage to the creators and stop trying to make it seem like you had a hand in the creation of it, that's when we look at it as disrespect, because you don't see us claiming that we created music that comes from other people's culture. We don't do that, but everybody wants to latch on to what we do, because what we do as Black Americans is very influential, like jazz. White people stole rock and roll. People don't even know that Black people created that. Black people created country music. White people stole it. So the same thing could happen in hip hop if we don't stand on business and talk about the origins of it. So we don't want history to repeat itself, because white people stole rock and roll and country music for Black folks. All this music, and I'm not being arrogant, I'm just telling you the truth. If you study the history of rock and roll, country music, jazz, gospel music, funk music, all this music came out of Black culture. And we're just tired of people trying to take claim to things that we created. We don't want history to repeat itself. Like I said, they already stole country music and rock and roll, and we're not going to let the same thing happen in hip hop. You can participate in it, but don't claim the creation, because that's flat out disrespectful at that point. That's all we're saying.
I want to hear this guy's point of view, the other guy that came up.
All right, I got you. What's your name? AL, whatever your name is. You got the floor.
If you didn't like this, here's the thing. What are you doing now? Like what are you doing now? Cause if you're not doing nothing now, stop crying. Cause at the end of the day, it's the Jews that call the shots, not white people. You keep blaming white people for everything. Like they stole this, they stole that.
They did.
Stop crying.
No, I know it's not crying, it's being honest about what's going on. White people did steal country. They did steal rock and roll. That's not crying, that's being honest.
It's not white people as a whole.
White people stole rock and roll and country and took credit for it.
It's
That's
not
the
white
fact.
people as a whole.
White people in general stole it, because if you look at who's taking claim to it, these are white people. So there's no way you could get around that.
In reality, it's the Jews, not white people. Stop crying.
Stop crying. Stop crying. See, this is what they say to gaslight you. When Black people stand up for what we created,
what are you doing now?
You're crying.
What are you doing now? If you don't own it now, what's if you don't own it now, what's the point of saying something about it?
Okay. Well, why copy a group of people who are known for crying? That shows how weak you are. Like, why would you want to copy a group of music for people that's known for crying? Create your own music then. If you got a problem with the way we see things, step out of it and just create your own stuff.
I'm myself. I don't need to copy anybody, because at the end of the day,
let me ask you something. Are you white, Mexican?
No, I'm not. I'm neither.
What are you?
I'm not FBA. I'm Black.
What are you?
I'm Black, but I'm not FBA.
So are you African, Caribbean, or what are you?
I'm not African. I'm not Caribbean. I'm just a Black man.
You just know your lineage comes from somewhere. Like, what are you? Where your family from? Where does your family come from?
My family was born from America.
There's a lot of people born in America, but you got anchor babies that was born in America. So where does your family come from? See, let me tell you something. I can go back 5 generations and all my family was here in America.
So is mine.
Look back. Can you go back? Okay, well then by definition, that would make you a foundational Black. Can you trace your family lineage to chattel slavery in this country?
My question to you is, why do you have to why do you have to say foundational Black American? You guys, you haven't been saying this foundational Black American thing all of a sudden when Tariq Nasheed says it.
Because it's the truth. It's the truth. The truth is the truth. If Jamaicans can be Jamaicans, if Haitians can be Haitians, nobody forces them to say we're African Haitians or African Jamaicans. This is who we are,
And by the
and that's
way,
what we're gonna stand on.
and by the way,
Well,
you are creating hate and division. You are, to an extent, you are.
how am I creating hate and division? By standing up for the things that we created. That's creating hate and division. You know, the first thing that Haitians and Jamaicans do when they come to America is wave their flags. You know why they wave their flags? Because they want Black Americans to know that they're different. So they've already separated themselves and divided themselves the
That's
moment that they came
them.
to America and wait.
It's not as a
Hold
whole.
on, hold on, hold on. When Mexicans, Jamaicans, Haitians wave their flags, what they're telling you is we're different. They're clearly separating themselves, but when we call ourselves foundational Black Americans, everybody has a problem because now you can no longer latch on to the culture without being called out for it. Now it's a major problem. You want to claim that somehow we're creating division. When you Africans and Caribbeans, the first thing y'all do is wave your flags when you come to America to let us know that you are different from us. That's why y'all do it.
It's not everybody as a whole. Like, you trying to paint a picture of everybody as a
All right.
whole. It's not
All right,
everybody.
I'm gonna pause you. I'm gonna bring up Street Media, man. Street Media, what's going on, my bro? Street Media, you might have to come back up, man. You might have to come back up because for some reason I don't see your audio connected. I don't know why that is, but I want Street Media to pull back up. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
It's not everybody as a whole.
I don't think
You can't blame white people for everything. It's not everybody as a whole. Like, if certain people like have a certain mindset, that's them. You can't blame everybody as a whole.
All right, man. I think I think you didn't said enough, man. So this is what we're gonna do. And shout out to Bob, man. He was respectful. I appreciate that, man. You like I say, man, I got a lot of love. I get along with a lot of Mexican people, right? I do.
Do
I
you?
get along with some white. Yeah, I do. Because I grew up. Listen, you can't. If you grew up in Los Angeles, you didn't grow up with some Mexicans. I grew up with a lot of Mexicans. The thing is, the ones who become Southsiders, the ones who engage in prison politics, that's where the separation comes from. Because I know a lot of Mexican cats before they became Southsiders. You know, we had more love for one another. Now, some of them are still cool, even though I know they're Southsiders. But when we got older, things changed. Like once they became Southsiders and they went to the system, that's when we really stopped hanging out with one another. We'll say what's up to each other when we see each other in traffic or we run into each other. It was all love. But when we was kids, we hung out with each other and it was more unity. There was more love. But the moment they became Southsiders, that's where the division came in.
Well,
You know?
I'm not. Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not from Los Angeles. So I don't know how it is in
Where you
Los
from?
Angeles.
Where you from? Where you from?
I'm from Northern
Where you
California.
from? You from the Bay Area or Northern California?
Northern California. So I don't know. I don't know about Southern California, but those are those particular people. You just can't like throw everybody in the same category as a whole. Like, you can't just do that just
So
because
do
somebody
you
else
guys
did
get along?
something.
So you guys get along with Mexicans up north?
It all depends. Like you got different like variety of groups. Like most people for the most part just stick with themselves, and then you have like a few couples like here and there. But I mean, like the point blank, the point is,
I don't think you know too much, man. I'm gonna bring up Scoop. I don't think you really know too much about the politics. You know, everybody's got an opinion, but if you don't have experience with these people that I'm talking about, then you really can't add too much to the conversation. I speak from experience. I'm from Los Angeles, California, the city, not the valley. I'm from the city. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I grew up with Southsiders. I grew up with Mexicans. I understand what it is firsthand. I ain't got to read no stats. I ain't got to look at something on the internet to have an opinion. I grew up with these people, so I know what I'm talking about. Let me bring up my man Scoop. This is my bro right here. Scoop.
Salute, yeah. Salute to the chat. You hear me?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, man. I'm with you, man. I'm with you all day long. Look, man, let me explain something to out-of-state people, people that's not in the street, and people that want to believe there's this kumbaya and there is no issues. Look, one thing we know, look, I'm gonna take you back to the 80s. Back in the 80s, cities have what's called a gang influx. Okay. They didn't believe that they had a gang problem, even though a lot of cities were finding out later on, oh, you got a gang problem. They can, oh no, it's not that big of a deal, unaliving come up here, or people hanging out, or they run into something and they don't know what, because a lot of them didn't even know what crack was and what it looked like. They didn't know how to charge it. They didn't know anything. Well, what was most of them people doing? They was calling back to LA to find out why we got gang members out here in South Dakota. Why we got gang members out here in Oklahoma? What's going on with? We don't know their politics. We don't know they get down. So this is pretty much the same thing of what's going on. Oh, well, you just can't lump them all in one thing. You can't say the hell we can't. Anything over 50% is the majority, and it's not just a gang thing. That is a culture thing. It's the same way as people say the culture of policing. Police act that way. Oh, they need more training. No, they don't need more training. They who they are. That's the way it's working. Exactly, the system is working exactly the way it was designed to work. So don't be fooled into believing that. Oh no, this is something different. Oh no, these man, they ain't got their numbers up where you at. Wherever you at, when them numbers get up, they're gonna act real funny, just like people say about white folks. You move in a white community, it's predominantly white, they're gonna act real funny, they're gonna get bold, they're gonna say things to you that they would never say if you outnumbered them. When you outnumber them, they don't hush status. Me and Red saw it. I grew up in LA. I know good and damn well how they was acting when them numbers was low. But when them numbers start getting high, they was moving in the community, acting real snippy with you, acting real funny style. You can't send your kids to school. They pressing a hard line. They calling your kids racial names. And don't tell me about, oh, you can't just lump them all of that to them. That's in. See, the problem that is in the black community, we don't believe that fat meat is greasy. We're reactive instead of proactive. We wait until it's an issue and until it's a problem, and all of a sudden, then we want to address it. Then you want to believe there's a banana in the tailpipe when your engine's blown. Oh, I guess I got to get another one. Even though somebody was telling you there's a banana in the tailpipe, man, you need to pay attention. So now we waking up, and the funny thing, it seemed like as we waking up, now we trying to protect our culture. We trying to protect each other. We trying to protect our communities, and everybody seemed to got an issue with it. But it's funny, as long as the black community can be stepped on, as long as we can be talked about, as long as we can be misused, and as long as you could misappropriate our culture, take from us, and we didn't say anything, and we believed everybody was our friend and everybody was on our side because you in a struggle just like we in a struggle, we brothers, we sisters, everybody believe it. Now look where that got us. Now look where we at. Now look at everybody that's speaking out on us. As it's all said a million times, we got no friends. We got just us. Stop looking at these other communities as though they on our team. They not. They are against us. But once again, sometimes I think some of y'all are slow. You don't wake up until the problem is at hand. And then when the problem gets here, you got no reason to solve it or no resources to get that problem. They already pushed it past you, put it over on you, and got us way out on the island looking like fools because we didn't wake up. Because you got so many of us that refuse to accept certain things. Oh, well, they ain't bothering me. I'm cool with them. Blah, blah, blah. When we telling you it's a problem. When we telling you, see, this is what you see on TV when you start seeing, MS-13 and Trindale Ragua. Where do you think they come from? They come from those gangs. When these immigrants and these people start migrating here, so do the gangs. What do you think those little kids gonna grow up to be? They're gonna grow up most likely to be gang members. And don't tell me, oh, don't lump them all. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Because one thing they got what's called politics. Most of y'all don't even know what those politics is. They're gonna press a hard line, and Lil Daniel gonna become Lil Taco. And he gonna have Big Taco, Little Taco, Baby Taco. They're gonna all be part of that gang, and they're gonna be pressing your black behind, and you're gonna wonder why you can't live in certain neighborhoods, why your car get vandalized, why your apartment or your house gets firebombed. Come on now, we don't got that history. We don't got that history of firebombing them. That should tell you just how they feel about us. But once again, here we go with this one. Don't lump them all in, though. They not the same. You can't speak for every man. Yes, the hell we can. If we're trying to protect our black culture and we're trying to for the survival of our black community, we gonna have to finger point at everybody, because it ain't us. It ain't up to us to change them. That's up to them people to change them. That means they people got to be speaking out. So yeah, I can lump them all in when I don't see nobody speaking out. When I see people like Sonny protecting them people, when I see people like him and other Latinos and the city council of LA, when they speaking like that, that's how they feel as a whole. Do you see any of them coming to our rescue? How many of them as a whole, as a community, is coming up and speaking up for the black community? When they get things, they get set aside. They not including us, but you ignorant Negroes still continue to cake for them. You don't know an enemy when you see one? See, I'm from the streets. I know an enemy when I see one. I'm not going to sit up and walk down the street and assume because them folks is over on the block staring at me, it's all good and gravy. Hell no. I'm finna reach whatever I got, and I'm ready for the confrontation because I already know how this is going to go. I don't have to wait to see how it goes. That's why a lot of us get ourselves in situations. I mean, all you got to do is look at the politics. Look at who we put in office. People that have done us wrong, and y'all still continue to put us in office. Clarence Thomas shouldn't be having fish fries. Why that fool still in there? Glutton for punishment? Because we just don't listen? We don't learn the first time? Man, come on now. Y'all ain't tired? Y'all ain't ready for us to start rising? We so busy big upping everybody else, trying to make sure everybody else get at the top. When they get up there, they look down on us. They don't care what we get or what we don't get. America, this country has always used us as their footstool. And then you got people like that don't want to, hey, I'm to this point, Red, I'm at this point like we don't need nobody that ain't riders. You ain't no rider, step to the side, let the real rider step through and do what we do. So we can make sure that black unity and black love starts to prosper. You other ones want to be docile. Oh, no, they ain't got no problem with me. Y'all did wrong. Y'all wrong for doing that to them. ICE is wrong. Okay, go on out there with them. And then when you get your butt over there with them, just like with them folks, when you get over there with them and they disrespect you and call you all kind of maates and anything else that they do, don't come running back to the black folks talking about, you know what, you was right. They don't like us. It's too late. Stay over there with them. We got house cleaning to do, and we need the riders to step forward, the ones that's raising them black fists in the air. And I'm going to end it right here, Red. If y'all ready to ride and y'all riders and you ain't compromising your blackness, in the chat, put that fist in the air, and I'm gone, Red.
Shout out to the Scoop. I was had what's the name, BA pull up shit. I got my man. And listen, man, we gonna keep it respectful over here. Like I say, I never use racial slurs. I don't know why Sonny tried to make it seem like that's what I said when I never said that. Let me bring up somebody. You got a guy by the name of BA, and I'm gonna bring up Trav the Truth after that. BA, you got it.
Yo, what's going on, fam? I would just like to say, first and foremost, I am from the Bay Area.
You breaking up, fam. Well, Trav, man, I'm gonna bring up my man Trav. Trav, you got it, bro.
Man, Red, what's happening, man? Long time, no show appearances. I know we kind of talk behind the scenes, but I've been on the panel in a minute, man. So salute to the chat, man. Salute to my man Scoop. Salute to my man Big E. You know, and I know this is your new channel, so I'm gonna keep it light. I ain't gonna talk too crazy, but we're gonna get, we're gonna get down to the, we're gonna break it down to the molecule. So this is my thing, Red. I think at this point, we need to be more tactical, right? I want everybody to listen closely. Black America, we need to be more tactical. And I've said this on several occasions. War is just not physical, right? We fight, the way that we fight this war is we make the right decisions politically. All right. LA, Los Angeles, California. All right. The Democrat Mecca. You know, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I know for a fact that some of these conservatives are racist. I know that. I know that a lot of white supremacist groups identify with that political party. But when you actually look at whose policies are doing us the most harm, I see all this BS as a product of liberal policies over a long period of time. Don't get it twisted now. The Republicans and the conservatives, we're gonna give them some straightening too. But I love what I love what the Republicans are doing right now, because as far as I'm concerned, they are reducing the amount of enemies we have. I mean, pick a culture, y'all. We've already seen the anti-Black American sentiments that come from Africans, people in the Caribbean, people that look just like us. We've seen this in the Asian community. It's very strong in the Asian community. And last but definitely not least, we have seen this in the Latino community. So at this point, we know that we have no allies, right? We're not going to keep having the same conversation. Foundational Black Americans have no allies, okay? Accept that. We need to accept that, because when you accept that and you accept the truth, you begin to carry yourself in a manner that is conducive to you progressing and getting ahead. So we gotta, what we're doing right now is we gotta have a rollback. Stop supporting these Democratic policies, because the Democrats ain't rocking with you, Black America. You see how Jasmine Crockett is such a strong Black woman until you ask her, well, sister, what's up with reparations? And all that bravado, all that loudmouth neck rolling, it goes right out the window. She's caping for the immigrants. Wes Moore, look at how Wes Moore tried to block your reparations. Look at how Gavin Newsom, right? Some of y'all sisters love Gavin Newsom, tall white boy, you know, blue eyes, all that, trying to block reparations, right? I mean, literally, and I'm gonna watch my language, but just spitting on the graves of our foundational Black American ancestors that got sexually assaulted, beaten. Sexually assaulted, beaten, had to be subjected to chattel slavery, and some of y'all really got the nerve to try to act shy and timid about reparations, as if reparations is not a valid claim. That's a valid claim. That is our birthright, you know. Now going back to your boy Sonny, right? This guy Sonny here. I'm so glad that you're speaking on him, because when I saw that video, I like him. I like him the least, and I really don't like American Cholo. But the way that he reacted when we had the reparations conversation, he was like, "Oh man, it's not right, dog. If Black Americans get reparations, then La Raza has to protest." Do y'all not understand or recognize an enemy when you see an enemy? At this point, as a collective, it's safe to say that the Mexican community as a collective is opposition to the Black American community. We're not trying to stir up violence. We don't even have to deal with them in that manner. What we need to do is we need to stop supporting those immigration policies, right? Stop supporting those policies, right? Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. We appreciate Kendrick Lamar for the things he has done, but Kendrick Lamar putting whoever that Mexican rapper is, him giving him a feature. I use that situation as an example of how stupid we can be as Black Americans at times. I mean, we literally saw this Mexican boy say that he would never allow his daughter to date a Black man, right? So that's him denying you access, Black man. Everyone wants to deny you access. But what do you do? What do you do, Black man? Like an idiot, we give people access. The same people who deny us access, we give them access. And trust me, they gain a lot more. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. They gain a lot more from us giving them access. than we do from them giving us access. Because even if they do give us access, they don't have the same cultural influence. I'm in Colombia right now. They got a barbershop with Tupac Shakur in front of the barbershop. Tupac Shakur ain't from Colombia. Tupac Shakur ain't Latino. You know what I mean? And I don't hate them for that. I appreciate them paying some homage and showing respect where respect is due. But I don't see people walking around here acting like cholos. And I'm in Colombia. I'm still in Latin America. You know, you don't see that when you go to Germany. Shout out to any of y'all brothers who've been to Germany. You know the power of that Black American influence. You might as well say we colonized that, because that is one of our enclaves. If you're a Black American man, you go to Germany, I mean, shoot, you get top tier treatment. You know what I'm saying? So we need to stop. We need to understand that we are on a different level. We have a different level of influence. And like I said, I'm not promoting physical war, but I will say this, because we are, people kind of tiptoe and walk around on eggshells around this topic. You need to be prepared for war. When I get off this podcast, I'm going straight to the gym. Brothers need to be trying to enhance their physicality. And I'm talking about, even if America was the most peaceful place in the country, you are obligated as a man to be a warrior. Do your push-ups, do your sit-ups, take a boxing class, take a jiu-jitsu class. I'm talking to every Black American man that's listening to this podcast, because we don't have any friends. So all I'm saying, y'all, is regardless of what happens, we need to be ready. Red, if you remember, and I'm not gonna be too much longer. If you remember, I used to put a huge emphasis on the lack of foresight that we have as foundational Black Americans. See, everyone else, when they smell smoke, as soon as the smoke alarm goes off, they get up out the house. One thing I will credit the white supremacists with, look at how they used to deal with us. If they think something is going to be a problem, if they can see the projection or the trajectory of a situation, they feel like you might be a problem, they eliminate you, or they eliminate whatever the problem is. We wait, we sit in a burning house looking around, scratching our head, like, damn, what the hell going on? When the house is on fire, it's burning, and we still sitting around looking around. This is what happened in Los Angeles. But I want to say this. I am upset with a lot of brothers in LA for the way that they dealt with each other as far as the gangbanging and the way that I don't feel like the situation with the Mexicans is being regulated properly. But I will say this. Shout out to the Riders Viral Podcast. Shout out to Red Supreme, because you've been pioneering this. And I want Black LA to know this. Even though you may be 8%, you are not as vulnerable as what you think, because if there was a situation where they really wanted to come down on our people in Los Angeles, Black Americans all over the country make that a nation. It'll turn into a nationwide issue. So even though I'm upset, I know some of y'all get upset when I throw shade at LA. I love LA. I want to go, man. I want to ride through Compton with Big E. I want Red to show me his hood. I want to go to Fatburger. I want to politic with my brothers from LA, but we got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. Drop them flags and bang one flag. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that respectfully.
Right.
Drop them flags. We at a point now where people don't even respect LA gangbanging, Black LA gangbanging the way they used to. That's why I'm speaking so comfortably. Like, I just watched Adam 22 scream on Munchie
B. Yeah, Munchie B.
Yeah. Little boy. Where I'm from in Charleston, we say he little boyed you. Little boyed you. You know what I'm saying? Handled you like a boy. And it's how I know that people are becoming more empowered and they're more comfortable disrespecting us. Look at 4X. 4 Extra was running. This nigga was a super thug. I thought 4 Extra was some kind of super nigga. I'm sorry, super thug.
Yeah.
And look, now you got Adam 22 calling him out for the fade. But you know why Adam 22 is calling him out for the fade? See, we know about this white boy cowardice. I'm wondering if 4 Extra is a foundational Black American, because we know this white boy. And we know how these other cultures operate, because they operate very similar to the white boy. Now that 4 Extra has one hand, or his hand is injured, now Adam 22 is comfortable calling him out for the fade. The same way that, you know how Mexicans were very humble. And I'm from South Carolina, believe it or not, y'all. We had during the Bush administration, we had an influx of Mexicans that came into my neighborhood in North Charleston, Star Road, Ashley Phosphate area, Hunters Ridge. And these are what y'all call Pisces, like fresh from across the border, first generation.
Yeah.
They're like you said, they're very humble, they're very quiet. You don't, but now that they have their population up, now they talking slick. Do y'all notice how this is becoming more of a common thing? Every day I'm seeing a video of a Mexican talking crazy because we lack foresight. We think it's all good. We don't know how to look at a situation and say, you know what, this may be a problem. It's human nature, y'all. When people outnumber you, when another group of men outnumber you, they start walking with their head higher. They start walking with their chest out. They start cracking jokes. They get real comfortable. So our whole thing is this. It's time to demobilize them. Stop supporting them policies. I don't care if it's a Klan member running for the Republican Party, whatever it is. I don't care who it is. If he's anti-immigration, I'm going to vote for him. Because for the most part, we don't have to worry. The issue that we have with white folks is systemic. Most of y'all brothers are not worried about your average everyday white boy walking on the street. No disrespect to my white boys, but let's just keep it a buck. It's a different level of physicality on our side. We're more worried about the police officers, the DA, the CIA, the FBI, the police officers on the streets, because that is a military force in my mind, right? Against black men, the police officers and the systemic things. But for the most part, we're not worried about your average everyday white boy walking on the street. They don't even try us like that. I mean, or if they do, they pick and choose. The white boy looks for a vulnerable victim. He looks for someone weak to run up on. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, I'm going to support that. If that party, if not that party, any politician. It's not even about a party. Any politician that's anti-immigration. I don't trust any immigrants. I'm sorry. I don't trust any Democrats. I feel like if I was to select any Democratic candidate, the way that the Democrats operate, they're on code about certain things. Y'all notice that when it comes to certain things, they're on code. When it comes to giving us reparations, they're on code. They all agree that we shouldn't get reparations. When it comes to immigration, they're on code. So right now, based on what the Democrats tried to do this previous election, I just wouldn't trust them. The way that we punish these Mexicans talking slick, I'm saying, and shout out to the Mexicans who are cool, who don't have a problem with us. But the way that we punish these people, these outsiders, because they are guests in our house, is let's reverse that population by voting for anti-immigration policies. Some of y'all all in y'all feelings crying about Donald Trump, all emotional. You go along with whatever trend these people present to you. You're just like the woman of the Democratic Party. Whatever trend, you go along with it. As black men, I'm gonna say this: as foundational black American men, immigration is not our friend. It's not our friend. If I got a homeboy that has to compete with 10 people for a job, I would rather my homeboy have to compete with 5 people. Now, call me what you want, but I personally want to see my people win. When you bring immigrants in, look at the construction sites in Cali. There used to be a lot more brothers on them construction sites, but y'all want to be self-righteous and vote for the Democrats because you think that's the party of black people, and you think that we should help everybody and support everybody and just give away our resources. This is why we get disrespected as men. We got to learn how to regulate our house. Stop voting for immigrants to come here and take jobs away from black teenagers. You know what I mean? I remember used to go to a McDonald's, and you know what you would see? You would see black teenagers in that McDonald's. You know what you see now? You got a bunch of grown-ass Latino men, you know what I'm saying? Grown men working those jobs that we used to work. Hey, check this out. Remember when you used to walk around the neighborhood with your lawnmower? I know some of y'all remember that. When you was a kid, you walked around the neighborhood with your lawnmower trying to cut some grass. Now the market is crowded because now you got some grown Mexican guy that's 40 years old walking around with a lawnmower cutting grass. And I don't knock his hustle. I'm not hating. I don't knock his hustle. But they gotta he has to do what he has to do for his, and I'm going to do what I got to do for mine. Because I'm gonna be real with you, some of you Negroes are too politically correct. I mean, I done seen footage of some of y'all brothers out there in LA running up on random brothers. Hey, where you from, homie? All this, that, and third. But then all of a sudden you get very philosophical. You turn into Martin Luther King when it's time to talk about this Latino and Black American beef, this Mexican and Black American beef. Oh, y'all get real philosophical. You know what I'm saying? You turn into humanitarians all of a sudden. So it's you know, and that's very perplexing. This is very perplexing for a brother like me, because you know, when it's one of your own, it's hey, cuz, where you from, cuz? Where you from, homie? Quick, real quick. You know what I'm saying? But then when we start,
but you know what? Trav, I analyzed this, and
yeah,
Sonny said something that was true. He said, "Well, us Mexicans, we attack each other before we attack anybody." I said that's true, because it's the same thing with Black people. Now, I will say this:
yeah,
now, you do have the cross racial lines, but for the most part, I'll say 90% of the time, Mexicans are inflicting harm on their own people, just like we do as, you know, as foundational Black Americans, like in the county or the prison. Mexicans, they're always disciplining their people or slicing somebody up. So for the most part, we do more damage to others opposed, you know, we do more damage to ourselves. Like, for the most part, Mexicans, 90% of the time, they're going to attack somebody who look like them. And it's the same thing with us Blacks. Now, the media will make it seem like most violence in Los Angeles is between Blacks and Mexicans, but it's not true. The majority of violence in Los Angeles is Black on Black or Mexican on Mexican. Then the other 15% might be Black versus Mexican. But the majority of it is Black on Black or Mexican on Mexican. That is, I got to be honest about that.
Right.
That's not to take away from the racist things they do, like the firebombing, the running with the Nazis in prison. I've been calling that out for a long time.
Yeah. And I want to say this, Red. You know, not only is that true, what you're saying is true. Not only is that true for Blacks and Mexicans, like the problem is, as minorities, we get hit with the stereotype of Black on Black crime. It's not as they don't. I'll say this, as far as the media, they don't come down on the Mexican community as hard as they come down on us, because we've been dealing with the myth of, well, I'm not going to say the myth, but the stigma of Black on Black crime. But it's the same thing among whites. Like most people harm the people that are close, people from their own community that are in close proximity.
Yeah, like 90% of them. When you look at when a white person alive, 90% of the time is another white person who's doing it. So when you see people like Charlie Kirk pushing this propaganda saying that Blacks are harming whites, like, hold on, Charlie, 90% of the time when your people are unalived, it's done by your own people. Every time there was an attempt on Donald Trump's life, was it a Black man or a white man? It was a white man. Right. So this Black on Black violence is blown way out of proportion. Everybody harms their own group more than they harm others. That is a fact.
Absolutely. And but this is the thing I want to say though. At the end of the day, Red, we are here to have a competitive edge. There is nothing wrong. To me, there is nothing wrong with us wanting to be the best, right? Like it's not, to me, it's not racist for us as Black Americans to say, you know what? Okay, cool. Yeah, Mexicans harm other Mexicans, whites harm other whites, but let's try to see what we can do to minimize I hate saying this, but so-called Black on Black crime, because that way we can preserve more soldiers. Listen, Los Angeles, I mean, you know, if you really were to tally up all the bodies, all these strong brothers, right? I mean, we've lost a lot, and it's not just LA. I mean, I'm from North Charleston, South Carolina. Somebody gonna die tonight. I'll gamble on it. You can Google it tonight. Somebody gonna get murdered. You know, I don't want that, but it's that prevalent, it's that common. Like I would gamble and bet money that somebody will get murked tonight before I would bet that somebody won't get murked. That's how prevalent it is, you know.
Yeah.
But
hey, Trav, let me bring up Fisheye, because he been backstage. I had to look at the thing. I said, okay, Fisheye, man, you got it.
Hey, what's going on, Red? What's going on, Trav? How y'all doing out there, man?
Salute. What's up,
my brother? Glad to get you up, man.
Hey, man, it's good to be here. Look, originally from North Carolina, but I've been in Orange County since like 97, 98. So I'm gonna call myself a California native. Listen, one of the things that I do for myself, just so I don't get anything twisted, is I stopped thinking about these other groups of non-black people as minorities a long time ago. I don't think that's the case. I think that the only thing we're dealing with and looking at on a day-to-day basis is black people, is black versus non-black. And the things that happen with these Mexicans out here in Cali, because I'm with them, you know, I work with them, I live here, you know what I'm saying? The thing that's happened, not just with them, but with every other group that we used to call minority, I realize that them people are just part of the non-black infrastructure. They're part of it. Now, it's just like the mafia. The mafia's got the Don, the capos, and the bosses and everything. And I think that's the same thing with the system of anti-blackness. You've got white folks that operate as the Dons, and then and then it goes like that. But just because it's just because there's levels to it doesn't mean it's not the same organization. Every single one of these non-black groups, they know exactly what to do when it comes to black people. And I'm going to prove my point right here, Red. So we go down to Mexico and we look at the black Mexicans next to the white Mexican, and we understand what the living condition is. And I would dare say all you have to do is run around to every place in the world, right? And any place where you find what I like to call an undeniable, unambiguous black person living in close proximity to non-black people, the situation always looks the same as it looks here. Them on top, us on the bottom. To look at the numbers of black life right here, we got the least amount of life expectancy, lowest amount of wealth, highest rates of incarceration, right next to some other non-black people. And that's the way it goes around the world. And I've been around the world and I've seen a lot of places, and that's what I've seen. Even if you go to India, a place with people with jet black skin and stuff like that. When it comes to the Andaman Islanders, or the people that look absolutely like black folks with the peasy hair and everything, those folks are being mistreated, right? So it's not to me, I don't even use the term white supremacy anymore. It's just a system of anti-blackness, and the system of anti-blackness operates globally. And that's the way I look at it. So because I don't want to, there is no camaraderie with the rest of these groups. I want to let you know that everybody's out here like salmon swimming upstream. It's every man for himself. And I heard what Trav said about Democrats and the Republicans. And my thing is this: I don't even put a label on these people. A Democrat that's practicing racism is no better than a Republican practicing racism to me. My thing is this: this is what you do for every individual black person. My suggestion would be simply vote for whatever your interest is, man. If you feel like somebody's kicking something that you can get behind it. But what they all are, like Trav did say, what they all can get behind is the fact that black people don't get any reparations. So I want to get back to what Sonny had said. Now, Sonny sits up there, and I heard him a long time ago talk about reparations. One, it's none of his business. But I dare say that if you ask any non-black, you're going to get the same answer. And as a matter of fact, even the Asians in California let you know what they think about affirmative action. They let us know a long time ago, right? So you get Sonny also talking about he wants to put to bed the myth that black people cannot practice racism, and that's one thing that I make sure that I address whenever I'm talking to my peers, family members, what have you. No, black people don't practice racism. That's what I've learned, what I've seen through the evidence. No, we don't practice racism. We've never practiced racism. What we do is we react to it. And don't let people put that label on us that we can practice racism, because that's really what they want to do. It's the same thing white folks tried to do years ago. You know what I'm saying? Saying we all had equanimity in this thing called racism, when it's nothing could be further from the case. What Sonny and the Mexican people are dealing with is a situation where they got their reparations as soon as them or their grandparents or the people before them got over here, right? And as far as that goes, no, black people don't practice anything that's got to do with a system. And anti-blackness is absolutely positively a system. So I don't let anybody come around me with that argument. Once I hear it, I already know that I'm dealing with a person who's probably about to practice some racism right now. And the next thing was I heard him say something like, "Oh yeah, I'm dressing black, or people are accusing me of acting black. These cats don't have any problem talking about anything. But whenever it comes to talking about something black, they always put the pause or the hesitation in it. You know what I mean? Every single time. And I don't know, man. I don't know why we even giving these people an ear anymore. Anybody who's in Southern California knows what time it is on the streets. It's not I don't think it's a prison thing. I don't think it's a gang thing. I think it's an anti-black thing, and I think that's worldwide with any group that doesn't look like an absolute, undeniable, unambiguous black person. That's what I think. And that's what I see all the time. Thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, you can pull up anytime. I appreciate you for pulling up, my brother, most definitely.
All right, y'all. Hey, have a good one, man. I'm going to enjoy the conversation.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. Shout out to Desmond Hill for the Cash App, and shout out to 400 for blessing us with a Cash App. I appreciate you, 400, for your contributions to the platform. And listen, there's a lot of things that we're going to work on, so everybody that's sending their support, you will see some upgrade to the studio. We're going to have better conversations, and we got bigger and better things coming for sure. Trav, man, I'm going to let you give your closing thoughts, man, and we're going to wrap it up.
Indeed. I'm going to say this, man, great show. Red, we really appreciate you pushing out the content you pushing out, because a lot of people don't understand the backlash that you deal with, you know what I mean? And you still walk around with your head high and your chest out, and you're not doing, we understand that you're not doing anything to disparage any other group of people. What you're doing, you do to empower your people. And I respect the fact that you don't let anyone make you feel bad about that, and you don't walk that back. And I want you to continue to stay down like that and keep doing what you're doing. I'm very proud of the content you put out. And it's not just me, you know what I'm saying? The whole family over, everybody in the chat, everybody that's rocking with you. So we just want to make that clear, that we don't have any hate for any other group of people, but we are not going to allow any other group of people to disparage us. We're not going to allow any other group of people to do things that take down the quality of our lives. You know what I mean? We put in work in this country. We put in a lot of work. Our ancestors made real sacrifices that not only we reap the benefits of, Mexicans reap the benefits of the work that our ancestors put in. Puerto Ricans reap the benefits of the work that our ancestors put in. Africans, people from Africa, people from the Caribbean, Asians, especially Asians. You got your own hate crime bill in our country. We don't even have a hate crime bill. And Asians were not subjected to what we were subjected to. So the only thing that these other groups of people should have to say to us, and I'm talking to every single one of you. My name is Trav the Truth from Charleston, South Carolina. The only thing you guys should have to say to us is thank you. Not, oh, hip hop is for everyone. Wrong. You shouldn't be saying that. What you should be saying is thank you. That's all I want to hear from y'all is thank you. The civil rights that you enjoy today, I mean literally today, how you can walk around this country as a minority, as a non-white person, and talk the way you want to talk and voice your opinions. And you know, you can be a Muslim this Friday and be a Jew next Friday, because you have religious freedom in America. You can date whoever you want to date, because America is a free country. It didn't start off as a free country. There was a group of people who we now today call foundational Black Americans that had slave rebellions. Yes, we fought physically. Shout out to Nat Turner. Shout out to the Deacons. Shout out to war veterans like Salem Poor. Google that, Salem Poor. Straight warrior, rider. Because of these people that are known today as foundational Black Americans, because we had rebellions, because we fought politically for legislation that benefits everyone today, right? You reap the benefits of this beautiful country that we call the United States of America. So no, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop addressing the disrespect. We're not going to stop speaking on these issues. If it makes you uncomfortable to see us spew the truth, because we're not spewing hate, we're spewing the truth. If it makes you uncomfortable, you need to do some soul searching and take a look at yourself. And not only take a look at yourself personally, take a look at your culture and figure out what needs to be fixed. Right? Because, you know, we don't claim to be perfect over here. We don't claim to be perfect. One thing I love about foundational Black American culture is our culture is all about upward mobility. We all about to come up. We all about trying to level up and advance and put our people in a better position, right? That is an ongoing thing that's going to take place for generations. Long after I'm gone, I hope and pray that, you know, the youngins are going to continue to do the same thing. Continue to work to try to put us in a better position as a people. I'm not going to feel bad about that. I have no hatred towards any other group of people, but that disrespect will be addressed. And another thing, y'all, and I just want to say this to my people, stop allowing these people to dictate how we talk. How Sonny's saying, yeah, you can do this, but you don't say this. Sonny, you don't tell us how to speak. Go take some young Mexican brothers under the wing and you can give them some guidance. Give them some advice. You don't come in my house. You don't come in my house and dictate anything to me. You don't. Right? The same way that we don't have the right to encroach on you or harm you. We're not. We're speaking about things that took place against us. And as long as these things continue to take place against us, we're going to speak on them. We're going to address it the way that it needs to be addressed. And on that note, I land my plane, Red, man. Great podcast. Shout out to the whole FBA family and keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Y'all, you know how I'm rocking, foot on neck, no mercy, don't let up. Keep pushing, right? Because I'm willing to die for this. You know what I mean? My ancestors did not make the sacrifices that they made for us to cower to these people, for us to allow any other group of people, not just the La Raza, any other group of people to make a claim on something that belongs to us. Hip hop is ours. The United States of America is ours. We've been here. We built this country from scratch. So you won't undermine us. You won't downplay us. And you won't do anything. You won't do anything to diminish the power of our people. We're not about losing power, y'all. Foundational Black Americans, we're about gaining more power.
Yeah, well, shit. Well, I appreciate you, Trav, man. We gonna end on that note, man. I appreciate you guys calling up and adding your commentary. We'll chop it up, man. I'm gonna hit you. We're gonna tap in and chop it up about some things, man, because I got some things that we gonna chop it up about behind the scenes, and we'll bring it to
Take
the
care,
forefront.
brother. Salute, man. Great show. Great show. Proud of you, man.
For sure. Appreciate you, Trav. Shout out to Trav and shout out to everybody, man. Yo, Trav is my dog, man. We chop it up behind the scenes about a lot of different things, man. So shout out to Trav. Shout out to everybody who blessed the Cash App, who supported the platform. Peace to everybody for pulling on up. And I'm gonna end this show. Make sure that you guys bless the like button. And hype the video when this live streams uploads to YouTube. Make sure that you hype the video, man. Make sure that you do so in a major way. Giving you the reality. No fantasy, baby. King Supreme, I'm up out of here, y'all. Peace. I'm gone.